What? Oh, I see.
Hi, going away by Jay.
Oh my god, why did my Discord overlay?
Oh my god, I used our new own one to redeem the first. I just realized.
Okay.
Well, you gotta do it.
Yep.
Promote us. Thank you.
Yep.
Follow, make our new own right now. Hold on, oh my gosh, I have so many tabs open. I don't fucking know
Done.
what's what anymore.
What
Different
does
guy.
Donkey's POV look like?
Of the game. I'm in the range right now.
Different guy.
Oh my gosh, Donkey, you have a missed opportunity. You could put me and Yu on your shoulder.
Wait.
Uppies!
Maybe let me do that then.
Uppies.
Do I want to use the combined thingy or do I want to use individual ones? Let's see. Can I put a gap in between image spacing? Extreme gap. What does this look like? No, extreme is way too small.
Extreme.
Yeah, I'll need to use like
That's so
individual.
extreme. That is so extreme. What do you mean?
Let me change this back to normal. I'll need to add individual sources for you guys.
Uppies.
Browser. Fugi. J. Thanks for the hydrate. I'll make it like 600 by 600. Oh my god, you're way too big.
That's what she said.
Hey, what? Oh, thanks for the bits. What just happened though? Did you read some goal or something? I don't know. I was doing Fuki stuff. But thank you for the bits, Jay.
You're welcome.
It's been a while since you like. No wait, you gave me like 20 bits at the end of the Outlaw stream. I was actually pretty scared that you would show up and like try to jump scare me with bits because it is very loud for me. But thankfully you didn't think of that until the end of the stream.
Did they scare you?
No, I was like ending. I was just saying, good night and stuff, and then she gifted me bits, so it wasn't scary.
That's good.
Did I make you jump?
No.
Oh.
Oh my god, that's so cute.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
Wait, I should use my this. Oh, but it doesn't have shoulders. No, I guess this is fine.
Yeah. Hot men.
Oh, what? Oh, my pings are not good. Aside from 2 servers, I have like yeah. But Singapore and Mumbai should be good, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that.
I'm
Wait, are you
ready.
collaborating with me yet?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Wait. So much to do. Being a streamer is so hard.
You know, but us is hard. Not me. Anyways.
I hear Jay has some pills. Do you need some?
Won't talk about
Not those sort of pills.
that. What?
Yeah,
Erectile dysfunction pills. That's crazy.
it would be very crazy if Jay had those, to be honest.
She'd be like, if any
Yeah, it
blokes
would
wants
be.
to get out with her and can't get it up, you just give them one. Oh, it's
No,
done
it's for
just now.
me and my imaginary schlong. You know, schlong.
Yeah, just give the dildo one.
Did it work? Did the shared chat thing work? Yeah, I think so.
Should be. Let me just say hi. Yeah, it should work. Yep.
Okay. Why is it
Can you
taking so
both
long?
view that?
Oh, unrated.
Yes, we can.
Wait, what? What did you ask?
She said, can we both view that? The
Yeah, we can.
Um, I wanna sleep.
You gonna sleep? But I thought you wanna watch us play.
Match found.
I can't sleep. I need to wait another hour.
Another hour? Why?
Yeah,
Take her pills.
because I have to take my pill.
Oh, I see.
Grandma needs her pills. Oh,
Just call my grandma.
I'm not that old.
uh-huh.
Match
What do you mean?
If
Ah,
I'm if I'm old, you're in a fucking coffin.
I'm not the one who needs pills.
wait. Are you in the game?
Uh,
No. I heard match found, but I'm still in the
Yeah,
wrong.
same.
That
Look,
was
it's okay. I just re-queue us in
that
case.
was so weird.
I think you're not the only one lagging Valorant too.
Yeah. Maybe we should just go swift
Match
phase or
found.
something. Okay, it's fine. Because I don't want to
Oh
play
hell
like
yeah! Oh
13
hell
plus
yeah!
rounds of laggy game.
Where's my Viper? Thank you.
Do we
Hell
want to
fucking
do
yeah!
the e-couple streamer
Sure,
one?
go ahead. Oh man, we should have shown something that matches.
Yeah, we could have used
We
that.
should have just
The banner
yeah, we
with
should have just done.
chamber hugging Viper.
Oh my fucking god! Hell yeah!
You have good taste, my friend.
I think I have the toxic banner as well, like the tag. Shit, if I'm not wrong. Hashtag e couple. So what's our ship name, Knight?
I don't know.
You dark. You dark.
Dork you.
Dark you. Oh my god, 10 nights. Because 10 nights up your ass.
What the hell?
Oh my god.
Why is Shay muted in this?
She's so done with us.
Stop questioning my muting.
I shall question your muting.
I'm just that little voice that pops in your head every now and again to deliver bad news.
Bad news? What kind of
Bad
bad news?
news. Bad
Yeah,
news. Oh, 陈志文用
like
evil wheel.
you said.
What?
What are you
A
saying?
gift.
Yes.
Revealing area.
Reloading.
Yes.
Found them.
Oh my fucking god!
Spike down A.
Oh, oh,
I have
Who
this back.
blocked me?
Reloading.
okay. I think our Jet has a nice position though.
I'm low, I'm low.
Can't even see the fucking crosshair. Can you see the crosshair or is it just me?
No, I don't see the Jet's
Last player
crosshair now.
standing.
Thanks for the daily
One
check-in.
enemy
Oh,
remaining.
Oh, apparently you can just no crosshair.
oh,
It
Crazy.
is my
1 HP in
third
a dream.
daily
Nice.
check-in.
sorry, what?
To be young and have reflexes again.
It's my third daily check-in.
I
I
forgot to thank her for the daily check-in.
did I not? I think I said it. Thanks for the
You
daily.
said it.
What Vandal use kit?
Sorry,
Sorry, what?
Vandal skin, Vandal skin. Anyone have?
What skin?
Request, request.
What skin you want?
Vandal, Vandal.
Anyone have funds to spare?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
Vandal. Okay. Sorry, couldn't hear you. Oh, okay.
The Jet.
Let's
See, I
check
don't want to
who's
go
on
with
this
them,
side.
but then they have a Vandal. And
I win again.
You want to bait the Vandal?
yeah, like they're going alone with a Vandal. I don't want them to give that to the enemy team. Oh, one's mid. On the vent thingy. Like,
Deploying drone.
One enemy remaining.
nice. Nice. Nice.
Here.
I have survived more than they have ever seen.
My song choice right now.
What is it?
It's the Wicked Girl in the Bubble.
That's a good start. Focus now. Eyes off me. Revealing area.
Oh, nice. Gecko's out mid.
Shock dart.
Reloading.
Reloading.
Feeling sight.
Deploying drone. So close.
One enemy remaining.
Also there, mid doors. Reyna went to knife.
They're supposed to be fighting back, right?
Vandal skin, Vandal skin.
Anyone have funds to spare? Thank you.
Thank you.
Why does this
Uh-oh.
person's Vandal have so many syllables? Like, doesn't it sound like he's saying something
Yeah,
else?
I heard like Vendalo,
Yep.
or like Phantom. Can't I say Phantom, what he wants?
Oh. Whoa.
That works. Shock dart. Shock dart.
Oh, Reyna's in. Oh. Oh.
Okay, no, this.
Deploying drone.
Yeah, wait for the drone.
Enemy mark. Pardon, monsieur.
Spike planted. My ultimate is ready.
Oh, flanking. Both flank.
Both flank.
One enemy remaining.
Ah, Chibai. Why? Is it not showing the player count?
Aw, thought you'd try harder. Come amp. Let's
Help,
go. I
help.
got things to do.
Gosh. See, I tell you, Susanda always changes everything, About my whole
Go
entire
entry
loadout.
A. Go A, go A.
So demanding. Damn. Okay, sure.
Would you say it like that? Okay, sure.
Like, the fuck you want me to do?
I saw Reyna AFK. I think Arena is AFK.
Maybe I have vision on mid then.
Ready.
Scanning ahead.
Oh my god.
Smoke, smoke.
Deploying drone.
Arena AFK. Door, door. One flank.
On target.
Satu flank.
What? Where did he go? Hello? No, I whiffed 40. My bad.
Last player standing.
Reyna was flank, hit for 40, and the Sage is on you.
You will not kill
Oh.
my allies.
I think you went off time.
Poison orb emitting.
Yeah, you win. Nice.
I should
well
win.
played. Yeah, definitely.
Nice one.
Clutch.
The enemy only looks composed. Their hearts tell a different story.
Final line. Jump.
Does anyone have funds?
What?
He just wants Vandal. He has his own Vandal skin, you know.
Wake up, Reyna.
Wake up, Reyna.
Oh, because it's that normal Tomita. Whoa!
My ult is ready.
Thank you.他 take flight 这么 far away okay.
That's a good spot.
Oh,
Flank, one flank.
Reloading.
One enemy remaining.
One flank, last.
Last player
Oh
standing.
shit.
Oh, that's
my
not
bad,
good.
my bad.
Spike down B.
Teleport's ready.
that's not good.
She's a phantom.
No, I had it.
Nice try.
Hi, Ame.
Hi.
Zenfire, let's not
Thanks
complicate
for the
One
daily
love,
chicken.
Does anyone have funds?
I can alter this. Thanks for the headpads.
They are so dead.
Keep up.
Damn. So aggressive. Must shoot me, really?
That works.
Get out of my way.
We can always rotate. I guess not.
We are in. There's an op behind orange.
One enemy remaining.
Planted.
Here.
Oi,
Oh.
120 lah. What does he say? Probably gonna say. Never mind.
Nice.
Nice one.
Nice.
We get a pick, we move in. Got it?
You have a nice dinner. Currently my
Yum,
time
yum, yum,
is
yum.
6 a.m. So yeah, I had a nice dinner like 12 hours ago. Yo, what was that? What is that?
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
Here.
There's two nest. Two nest.
Prepare for hellfire! Enemy tag. Clean.
One enemy remaining.
Teleport's ready.
Oh, nice.
Last player standing.
Oh shit, what the fuck?
He's having.
Enough time, yeah. Run! Watch out from mid, keep coming from there.
If any of you don't
Nice.
believe that was Britney
Nice.
Vandal again, champ.
Spears, please.
Does anyone have funds?
Oh my god, wait, can you buy for me? I'm like broke.
Me? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It has a pikiti. What's a pikiti? Yeah, I had the same question. What's a pikiti?
What's up, Kitty?
I wonder when they'll punish my mid push. I've been doing the same thing for like 4 rounds now.
You never know.
Oh,
This
A
could be the round.
PKT is basically
Brim mid.
basically just a bunch of like sticky
3
stuff.
mid. 3 mid. Brim, Sage, Gecko.
Only like scotch eggs, boiled eggs, ham, cocktail sausages,
Gecko is coming to you.
satay sticks,
Alrighty.
crisps. Yeah,
Brim was in
just
this.
basically a bunch of snacks.
Brim's 55. Brim's in main.
One enemy remaining.
Nice. Not on.
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah. Oh my god, Viper's it's so broken.
Yeah. Oh, well, oh my god, Ame has
Oh damn,
95%.
74%. Crazy.
Ame has 95%.
95.
All the girls are mocking us today.
I know,
Sukasa
right?
had like 62, Jay has 74. I'm gonna go push mid again because I didn't die last time.
Because he didn't get punished.
There were like 3 there though last time.
You will not kill my allies.
Away with you.
Nice.
These two were like,
Oh, I love that you're.
oh, here. Oh,
What the
3 HP.
fuck?
Holy, I'm 3 HP. I'm gonna let them take the first fights and play for time.
That's not
Oh,
ready.
no, that's not good.
Last player
Oh,
Oh, Did you get your molly off?
I did.
Nice. But nah.
They have time. They have
Yeah.
time though.
Nice try.
Oh, unfortunate.
Inaccurate? No, I think it's accurate.
He was like, "You're so rude," and I was like, "Boy, does it look like I could care? I couldn't even care less." Rude. What a go.
Nah, I'm a big dork. Yeah, I suppose you are.
A gift.
Oh,
Here. Enemy mark. Do better.
sure, I'll take a free.
Teleport's gone. No chance.
What the hell?
Destroyed.
One flank.
Yeah.
One enemy remaining.
My ult is ready.
Nice.
I am sorry. We could not work out our differences.
It's outlaw here.
Last round in the half.
Can't take anything with us after this. Go for broke.
Does anyone want top? Because I have my ult.
Ask Emma.
Gun. They are so dead.
You should buy a gun as well in case.
Yeah.
Gun here.
Oh, that.
Rana.
Gun here.
Lena.
Reloading.
Blocking sight. Watch this.
Okay, I'm coming to you. Oh. Our Jets has a, if you want to go.
A clear, A clear.
Done.
Right here.
Go away.
Teleport's ready. That's a good spot.
Planted.
Line up as well. I'm mid.
One enemy remaining.
Low. City.
What?
Huh?
Let's see, just gonna see if this works. I'm just gonna throw it.
Well, this suit is ruined.
It does
Based
work,
on my
okay.
trap.
Switching sides.
I'll choke their sight.
Anyone have ghost skin?
Anyone have funds to spare?
Thank you.
You has
Welcome.
all skins.
Not all. All of my guns have skins. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
아이고 왜 그래요? Ice cream. Sonic.
Hey.
Oh, 55 on Sage and Jet.
Are they playing?
Yeah, planting.
Spike planted.
Okay.
Healer down.
Jet will be on top. Jet's on top of the bricks. Nice. One's behind the box thing here. And one's on spike, I think.
Poison orb emitting.
Last player standing.
Oh,
what the
he
heck?
Just, yeah.
What?
Damn.
We are strong
He
because
just
we have
mini-map shot you. Wow.
Sheriff kill, sheriff
I know
kill.
it.
Crazy, crazy. What do I want to do? Do I want to try the Bucky after the nerfs?
Bucky's not that good now though.
Yeah, I know.
But it can be.
That works.
Come in, B.
No one
Come in,
stuck.
B, come in, B. Bro,
They have
wow, they
pistols. They
move
buy.
very fast, yeah. They're very fast, yeah. Nice,
Spike
nice.
planted.
Oh no, that's two of them.
Last player standing.
The bad news is they didn't buy up, so they're gonna have good guns next round too.
That's true.
One down.
哇，这也可以啊
Blocking sight.
Really no time left. Let's try.
Watch them run when lit by my sonar.
Okay, well, in that case, then let's save.
No, I think we should still buy up, right?
Really?
Yeah,
We can. I'm gonna buy a bandit then.
I'm gonna get an outlaw.
You want my outlaw? Oh, it's too far away already lah.
Yeah, never mind.
In we go.
Oh, come in,
Eh?
come in here, come in here. I got your jet.
Spike planted.
Take flight. Enemy tag.
Oh my god, he's no fucking crosshair.
One enemy remaining.
Nice. This one.
Merci.
You should get it, no?
No fireworks today, I'm afraid. Gun here.
Look them in the eyes when you kill them.
I just need a wave.
What do the points mean? Like 10 to 4? Oh, that's the score. Like, we need 13 rounds to win. So we are at 11 rounds now. We need to win 2 more to win.
No, we are around 15 actually.
No one step. In A.
Don't AB, yeah.
Planting.
Spike
You
down
will
B.
not kill my allies.
Oh. Nice.
Wait.
Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Last player
Lo.
Nice.
Nice.
Noise. You guys are almost there. Yep. But let's try not to jinx it.
Match point.
I mean, it's okay. It's just unrated. But
Yeah, it's unrated. Oh, they might be going A, yeah, this time. They keep going A, B, A, B, A, B. Oh. Ha, 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 ha. They might go. Or they might switch up, so.
Again.
Hey.
Huh. Didn't I told you they might go A?
I have them. One less.
Spike down A.
Renalo.
One
Oi.
enemy remaining.
Bro.
Low. In your red. In the
Bro,
box.
I'm
In the
like trying to
box.
hear,
Box.
and then
Nice.
Forgive me.
Nice.
Defenders win.
GG's.
GG.
Nice. The jab was
Let's
good.
go. The fact that she has no crosshair is crazy.
Is it a bug? Surely they were not playing without a crosshair that well.
It's diamond versus a bunch of bronze and silvers. So
Yeah, makes sense.
gotta nerf. She's like, gotta nerf myself somehow.
Nice. What does your overlay thing say my rank is?
Cool.
Mine. Like, I wonder what other people see when they see me in a game. Do they see like a bronze?
Match found.
Oh yeah, I forgot we wanted a match.
What?
Oops. The
Oh,
player
yeah,
card
right.
kind of thing. Well, I can play Viper here too, actually, but I rather mix.
Mix it up.
Who do you ship mix with?
I don't ship him with anyone. His trainer
Really?
was so like good. Like he was vibing with everyone.
That's true. I think I would ship him with Gecko.
What do we need? Another duelist?
You know, I think we need Sentinel. You
Oh,
know,
right.
chamber, chamber, chamber,
Sure.
chamber. Yay!
You have good taste, my friend.
I didn't see we had 2 smokes.
Every day, every night. I would like to say I'm the one that picked the smokes first. This
Yeah, I
Omen
know.
decided to be like, I'm better than you.
It's
Like I sound like
okay.
a bitch, don't I? I sound like a fucking bitch, but like I am a fucking bitch. So what you gonna do about it?
Did Jay fall asleep? I think Jay fell asleep.
Dang, you need to take your meds.
No, they don't know you.
Wake
They know us.
up!
They have no idea what we're capable of.
I'm
No.
not asleep.
Sometimes it feels like I can still hear her.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I feel like I'm hallucinating. We are also really tired.
You know what, you?
Oh,
Yeah.
Just
take a
for
high kick.
that.
Oh my god, Jess! Oh, I need to give you a shout out. Fuck. Wait, but tomorrow's about to start. Wait, after this round. Shit! Okay, well.
Hawk out. Blinded.
One
You'll
heaven.
all die.
There was a blender
Never
there.
mind.
Spike down B.
Oh, oh. Oh. Anti.
Do not worry, my
Thank you,
wicked friends.
just for
I
redeeming
will
third,
encounter
and
talking to a stranger.
thank you for the posture check, Jay. But I'll refund your care package again.
No, go and get some water.
Like I physically can't get any water right now.
Bye.
There is none. That is like we do have a water filter. I need to boil the water, and I don't want to do that right now.
You can't just drink it from the tap.
I mean, you can, but I prefer not to because I don't trust the government with water.
It's understandable.
Why did I buy a sheriff knowing that I'm? What's wrong with me?
Neon's up top.
So me first class.
Enemy spotted. A.
She thinks Come, blah, blah, blah.
Plant the spike.
Oh, side. Nice. Oh,
Don't you just
55.
Spike down A.
You have a Spectre. Oh, behind you.
Last player standing.
Anti.
It said 16:24 hours and I'm at 27:09 hours now. What do you mean?
Your bot thing, it said 16:25 hours in Overwatch.
My bot?
We've got this.
Like your shout up Frosty Tools thing.
Oh. Lama. That's a bit much, yeah, Jess. You updated it.
Oh.
I think Frosty bot is like lagging.
Oh, what a shot.
Oh fuck.
There's an outlaw on my body if anyone wants.
I died.
Outlaw on my body if you want,
Last
Sky.
player standing.
Thank you, Jess, for the 10 stream streak. Oh my god, how is that possible in my sleep schedule?
Anti.
Let's try.
Watch for my tech, everyone. If I throw it left and you go right, I can't heal you. Or hurt
Or
you.
hurt you for that. But
Are we... Okay. Our buys are a bit off kilter.
Need a drop.
No.
Okay, start fresh. That's a good spot.
Cutting their vision.
Smoke's resonating.
Going out.
yo,
A.
oi, oi, hey,
Spike down A.
this goddamn Omen not looking.
Planted by blinding.
I feel so exposed with the marshmallow now. Oh no.
I play some Overwatch now. I didn't get to yesterday because of internet. Oh my gosh. Okay, have fun, Jazz. Have a good Overwatch sesh.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Drop down.
Please tell me it's planted for me.
It is, but they smoked it off, huh?
Oh.
Clove is so broken for that.
Yeah.
Trying to silence us, we keep talking.
NT, thank you.
I will be their nightmare. That works.
Oh. Nice
Oh,
shot.
what the fuck? What the fuck?
Cutting their vision.
Smoke's up.
One enemy remaining.
Joke's over! You're dead!
There's our sky. I think our sky is new.
Spike planted.
We're all here. That's just
100 D on Phoenix. Oh gosh. What took you so long to place down your TP, by the way?
I was just playing time. I was looking at the minimap, deciding what's the best place to play.
I was like, you took it. I was just like, okay, about time now. Now, wait, no, now, no. And then finally you put it. I was like, okay, dang. Yo, Reina, maybe you wanna come over here to have a sentry? I guess not.
Don't give them ground.
A gift.
You know, I just realized I could probably smoke a mid for her in case she wants to.
Enemy spotted. A.
Oh,
Reloading.
Get healing.
oh.
Yo,
Last
can
player
you
standing.
Omen take an angle
Spike
instead of just
down
standing
A.
there?
Hey.
Yeah, you.
Farewell. My ult is ready.
Nice!
No!
I thought she dropped down to
Yeah.
what?
Their lives are
Unfortunate.
so meaningless. Might
Help
as
a
well
girl
give them
out,
to
would
me.
you? Reloading. Help a girl out, would ya? Cheers, mate.
I'm actually not even gonna buy, I'm just gonna save. You should do the same.
I have my
Say
Like, no
Ultimate.
shield.
dead.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that works for you.
Time to mobilize my pack.
You know, I don't know where this Omen wants to smoke. So I'm just gonna let him smoke first.
Enemy spotted B. Reloading. Hawk out.
Here's that
Cover going out. Reloading.
Time to hunt.
get the orb if you
Healing
need.
vent. Scout destroyed.
Spike is
Oh,
Cutting their vision.
Okay,
Spike
sure.
down B.
oh. Nice. Okay.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Oh, one's backside.
One enemy remaining.
Heaven, I
player
think.
standing.
Reloading.
Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my fucking god! Nice try.
If anyone needs an energy boost out
He
there,
crouched
I've got
like
you.
under every bullet. We're just having an emote battle in chat.
Oh, I'm so hungry.
Why aren't you eating?
I told you, because there's nothing to eat. I don't want to cook.
Has to be something to eat.
There is something. There's like Maggi noodles, but like, do I really want
Oh,
that right now?
One's close. Oh
You
my
just,
god. I'm good.
gosh,
Oh, they're gonna push.
what the fuck? Went for me first.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
you
the
need-
number. Okay. I was so trapped there. Oh, oh, oh,
Cutting their vision.
oh. I think our sky is actually new.
I'm out of stuff.
Oh, oh my
Player
god.
standing. Spike
Yeah, I think
down
our sky
A.
is actually new. It's okay. I mean, they probably have some experience. Like they're not like new, but like they don't seem very confident.
Back here.
Oh, my KDA is 6-7.
Never say that.
Reina's is too
Turn it up.
6-7.
Reloading.
Out of charges.
I hope your balls get eaten in the middle of the night.
No, 40.
Spike down.
KO's pushing.
Run,
KO
run,
was
run,
pushing.
run, run,
KO
run.
was pushing, careful.
Last player
Yeah.
standing.
Tasty?
Cover going out.
Anti.
I'm sorry, you the disappointed sigh.
No, I'm disappointed because we didn't win that round.
Oh,
Okay.
It's like no, I could have won that KO. I just pulled out my gun a bit too late. Unfortunate. I'm pissed. Nike, you get an ace.
Find the weak point.
oh wait, why do I have the spike? I'm gonna take the first
Oh.
peek.
Shadows traveling.
Yeah.
Okay, not peeking this time. That's weird.
Smoke's up.
Oh no, I'm having the ADS bug.
Right here.
Oh,
Three for three.
You are powerless. Not your best.
oh, like, can you not pick up your TP when
One enemy remaining.
140 on him?
I can't use that.
Nice. Nice.
You can pick up your TV and what?
Oh, when I was KO ulted, I couldn't pick up my TP for some reason. I didn't know that was a
Really?
thing. Yeah.
I guess. I guess picking up an ability is counts as ability.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, no, I think it's the idea of you can't interact with your abilities. That's what I
Possible.
think.
Our Roman wants to go. Sure.
Fairness for Lerman since he's carrying us.
Yeah.
That works.
Smoke's resonating.
Oh my god, that's enough. Let's maybe not go there.
Let's make our way downtown, walking. Run! You better run. That Phoenix is there.
The op was a heaven, right?
One enemy remaining.
Spike is down.
Oi! A heaven.
Down B.
That's where he was.
I got the spike.
Go, go. You got to be so fast.
No, why is he waiting there? Oh no. Come.
He took out his pistol instead. Smart move. She's out, battery.
Spike planted. There they are.
Hi! I'm pissed!
Oh!
This show is ruined.
Oh, crazy night, crazy. Oh, pussy there. For real.
Last round
Okay.
before the switch.
Buy the best guns you can.
Reloading.
Do you want a sheriff skin night to complement with your amazing wheezing?
No, I'm
Take it.
good.
Take it.
Sure, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Cover going out.
No, why did I? No! I got body blocked. But I
Got
guess
double
my bad.
flashed.
He's gonna push. Oh, That guy's good.
Last player standing.
Okay, no ace for him though. Oh, this guy's new. Look at him, like crab walking. So scared. There's gonna be a killjoy setup here. He's gonna die to
He's
the.
gonna die. He's gonna die.
We called it.
That's hilarious.
Switching sides.
Let's try.
Yeah, they're a new player. They're trying. It's okay. But it's funny how we both just called it.
We were like, he's gonna die. I mean, through HP, no one can counter that unless you smoke it
Yeah.
off. Like, flash it, you know? And then
Yeah.
somehow run to cover it, but like, you know. The KO is peak
Focus
diamond.
now.
You have 11
Wow.
assists, damn.
As long as you step in my heal, you get and you kill someone, I get the assist.
Yeah.
That's why it makes it so good for. You stay back. You wait. Come to mid. Find me a mid.
Oh, one mid,
One
one
more
mid.
here. One here.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
I spike.
Spike down mid.
Reloading.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Team Ace.
Nice.
Nice one.
Did you
I
have-
whiffed completely.
All good.
One bullet per enemy. That should be enough, yes?
I think it's because I didn't have my bandit skin. I was using a regular bandit. Oh, regular. Oh. Yeah, the Sky has the freaking near frontier sheriff. What do you mean that this
Oh.
is new? Either it's a bot account or it's nice.
There were more. Help me!
Why did he not smoke?
Yeah, he's hooked now. Oh, he's dead. Anti. Nope. Oh,
Remaining. Last player standing.
Watch out. He can one shot you.
as an outlaw.
He's garage.
Still main,
gosh.
not inside.
He might be going up or rotating, but like. Oh, this is scary, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I knew it. I called it.
yeah, you did.
Sound is everything on the battlefield, so listen for noises. You'll hear those jerks before you see them.
Man. I guess
Never
maybe
mind.
he thought I wanted to re-peek, that's why he didn't smoke if I give him the benefit of the doubt. Because I
No,
had
but
an
like the
outlaw,
fact that we
but
saw so many people.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
no point in like trying to fight that. We just like regroup, no?
In we go.
I guess
Yeah.
he doesn't have the same mentality as us.
That's a good spot.
I'm just smoking that off.
100 on the KO, I think.
I have them.
Flow 101. Flow 101.
Spike planted.
What? How? How are you alive?
I don't know.
Last player
Oh
standing.
no.
Oh, nice try.
Ah,
Nah, if you won that, literally
Feel like
busting
I
it
want this
right now.
yeah. What was it? What? It would have been a.
It was a 1v5.
Yeah, it was a 1v on 3 HP. Ah, I'm gonna keep outlawing it. I think they probably go B again.
Just watch out. If they really go B, it's gonna be full send push. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there like that.
You had your fun.
You lose.
Nice one. Oh,
I'm gonna.
are you gonna be okay?
I am scared.
I don't think so.
Spike planted.
Oh, that's scary. Oh, that's scary.
Teleport's ready.
Last player standing.
What? 1v3, 1v3, 1v3. No abilities. Oh, he's right there. He heard you, definitely.
Yeah, frick. I don't have time for this. No, 100! No! I should
Nice
have
try, nice
shot.
try. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Match point. Trust each other. That's all.
Why are we trying to surrender? The game's not ended yet.
Time to mobilize my pack.
I want to say B or bitch. Because you're one.
Joke's over. You're dead. There they are.
Spike down B.
Reloading.
Gun here. Stealing sight.
What is the omen doing?
One enemy remaining.
Is ready.
Nice.
Reloading.
Make sure to follow my pack in. Don't
Oh my
leave
god,
Oh.
that's gonna be shadow me. What was that?
a girl out, would you?
Oh,
That was a boo. I don't have enough for a
Help a girl
one.
out, would ya?
Can I? I don't think I can get them.
Bonne chance, mes amis. They are so dead. Gun here. Gun here.
Hawk out.
Oh,
A gift.
On my mark.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
oh
what
no.
was that not kill?
You should run.
Oh my god, I am so dead.
So long.
No.
Let's try.
Attackers win.
GG's.
Nice one, night. Carry, thank you for the care.
I was just getting like exit frags, like 1v3, 1v4, I get like 1 or 2.
You still carried.
Match found.
Fuck! I wanted to change my skin.
Oh.
For gore. Lotus! Ugh.
GG's. Thank you, Ame.
Kinda don't want to play smokes. But I kinda want to play smokes because mix is hot.
Oof.
Don't expect nothing.
Wait, what else can we play? Da.
Initiator. Fade is a good pick here.
Sure. Wait.
Fade.
What happened?
Everyone
I'm
is
just
afraid of
trying.
something.
Let me see what their ranks. Ha! They're both the plats. Oh my god, their Astra is level 500 diamond, by the way.
Oof.
Crazy.
Hey, I thought it was our turn
And
with
the
the good
Neon player from
players.
last match. Oh my god, welcome in, GG's.
GG's.
GG's. Oh, hello! You're the KO? Thank you for
You
the
were really
follow.
good.
Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Block. Can I call you Block? What do you want me to call y'all? Wait, KO. Aren't you like Diamond or something? Peak Diamond. Crazy. I don't even. None of us are Peak Diamond.
My
Our
peak
team. Crazy.
is. Oh wait, I didn't buy anything. Cause I
Oh, it's
was.
okay.
Oh, there's one there.
There. Grenade!
Sorry, I play with my friend. I see. That's fine. We're having fun. We're just chilling today. I haven't played Val in a while too.
Oh, one in the smoke, one in the
Spike
smoke,
down
and the
A.
Astra smoke. Oh,
Oh my gosh.
our Reyna
Wait,
is in. Chamber will be like coming from B. Oh, oh no. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Okay.
One enemy
Nice. Oh,
remaining. Last
No!
player standing.
okay.
Anyways. Nice
Ah.
try. Thank you for the follow. And thank you
GG's.
for playing. GG's.
So, we have to kill my double? So be it.
Our Reyna is buying up. BRB. Okay. Should be force. I kind of want to force. I'm so used to Swift play. Like saving feels so bad. Sheriff it is.
Blow something up.
I normally don't actually buy release, but like, okay. Oh, you know, we're Mumbai servers.
Oh, careful. Did he TP? Oh my god, they have so many outlaws. Oh, oh, out.
Spike down.
Oh,
Oh.
I lag!
Last player standing.
What was that?
Oh, our race has infiltrated enemy lines with a classic. Oh, they have 3 outlaws. Okay. So full shields it is.
Reina, I must say how nice it is to work with you. It is so hard to find partners with your experience.
You want to go see? You got entry.
Time to work.
Oh, doesn't that rhyme so well?
Oh,
Spike down. C.
I got the double damage.
You disappoint.
Our Reina is such a baiter.
Reloading.
30 on the ISO. Oh, ISO's dead.
Satchel out.
Not the best entry. Not the worst.
One enemy remaining.
Okay.
Water rising.
Oh, on Reina. Waterfall.
44.
Zone placed. Blocking fire.
Last player
Oh.
standing.
Hit 30, hit 30.
Teleport's ready.
He's gonna
He's
save.
saving.
He's saving, he's saving.
Nice.
We have a Vendo.
Teleport's
Oh.
broken.
No way he's trying to shoot you from there. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
This fight isn't over until we are dead.
Hmm.
Get a drop?
I don't have money. I need more money.
Can I get a drop?
Who will I spot first?
Outlaw it is, I
He
guess.
said it in all
You
chat,
want
by
to
the way.
play? Let's play.
Oh, that's not good. Let's go B, I think. Oh,
Yeah, let's go B.
Reloading.
Walls up.
I'll find you.
okay.
Vision.
Bring them down.
Spike planted.
Okay, nice smoke.
We'll catch them.
I think all three there.
Silence, Dream Seer.
100, ISO 100.
One enemy remaining.
Last low.
Diffusing.
No. Ah.
Good try. Pros never fake.
Yeah.
It's mine. And I will kill
Ah.
Let's try. I even opted for that night.
Rip. I mean, I
Can I
got
get a drop?
three. I got two.
Can I get a drop?
Thank you.
Oh my god, he's pushed up.
Still in sight.
He's stairs now.
Still in sight.
Arena is like he's watching the door for anyone who breaks in.
One backstabbing.
One backstabbing.
Yeah, there's I think more than one flank.
It's you and me.
Oh, it's the ISO.
Adios.
Don't set.
Last player standing.
What the hell? Nice
Oh.
try. This chamber just like right clicked a full HP Reyna. Like one shot.
Mm.
Crazy. Like, I guess at least two of the
But
bullets
no
need to hit your head for that to happen. Crazy. Are we saving? I guess we're saving.
This chamber is level 4 as a smurf. Why are we playing with smurfs?
I don't know.
I will rip your hearts out.
My friends using my account do so well. To the point that they put my hidden MMR up.
Reloading.
Reloading.
Up.
Where are we?
Okay, why are we peeking that?
Part one.
He's peeking his
Last player
140. Ah, 140 on the chamber. Chamber's gonna be out of C. Oh no, nice try.
What the
Anti.
heck?
Gear up. Stay safe. We're going back in.
Anti. I have ultimate.
I need one more to use my ult as well. Let's just... I don't know what to do.
Their fears betrayed
Their
them.
whole team is just...
It's only the chamber that's
pushing out.
carrying.
Enemy down.
Nice, nice, nice.
Reloading.
Face your fear!
Reloading.
Oh, ISO's here.
I saw here.
I can.
Where are you?
C आ जाओ, C आ जाओ.
Oh,
Spike down B. One enemy remaining.
nice.
Hey, take break, guys.
Our Reyna plays the
Let's
cringiest
begin.
Valorant.
Ours found.
Always lurking and like hiding in corners, waiting for kills.
Just play Judger at this point. What the fuck?
Spike down A.
Grenade!
Still in sight.
Satchel out. I have the spike. I'll find you. Plant the spike. Enemy spotted.
One enemy remaining.
You last at B.
Spike planted. Reloading.
Not sure though, so take everything yourself.
Yeah, I have util.
Yeah,
ये
no, right now.
extra.
I have util.
Bring them down. Bring them down.
Nice.
Bogey kill.
This one.
Hey, listen up. It's only life or death.
Noise. The chamber likes to push. I don't think we should go A.
For you, hermanita.
He has ult, he's gonna ult, he's gonna push A.
You want to
Get out of
play?
my way.
Let's play.
Blocked.
Sleep.
You clocked him.
Bring them down. Where are you?
I have B.
Trap destroyed. Teleport's gone.
Oh,
Spike planted.
Bring them down. Last player
no, I
standing.
should not have picked that. Tried to help him.
Oh!
Oh,
Come to kill, okay. Oh my bad, I should have cleared that.
yeah, I should not. I should have said something in team chat.
They're going to scatter from my stuff. Super.
Because he
easy to
was
pick
A, and I think he got two with his ult.
off. Can I get a drop?
Can someone spot me?
Need a drop.
He wants the Reyna skin.
Shukriya. Thank you.
Thank you. I want a gun for myself, that's what I want.
Oh,
Where are you?
yeah, he always does that.
Grenade!
do we have? The chamber's still peeking. The chamber's still peeking with an ult.
रोटेट कर जाओ.
Player standing. Spike
Okay.
down A.
Yeah. 17.
My city needs
I
me.
propose
Can't be away for long.
to not
Say
push.
this quickly.
Oh gosh.
Right there. Right there.
Where's Arena going, guys?
Arena always does that.
Come on, let's go.
I guess I'll just taunt this right at the start. I'll save my ult for the...
I'll find you.
Oh.
Reloading.
You know, maybe I
100.
shouldn't be doing this when I'm lagging.
Yeah.
Spike down C.
Here comes the party.
She got the bot frag without. Could have saved it for like chamber, but you know. Lamau?
भाई सैचल करके आ सक. मैं ब्लाइंड देता हूँ.
Oh, okay.
Okay, okay.
ऊपर ऊपर हेवन की तरफ है.
30
that
seconds
mean?
left.
Spike planted.
He's towards heaven, that's what he said, I think. Oh, oh, no.
Last player standing.
You are divided.
Why is he making sound?
Clutch.
No way. No way.
Last round in the half.
Oh.
It's our last chance to attack. By our
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, it's a 4v1, guys. 4v5.
Let's
5v4.
let's go B.
Yeah,
Let's
five.
go B. I'll just ult the entire side. And then anyway, the chamber likes to play either C or A.
What?
Spike down B.
Chambers B.
One enemy remaining.
No.
There. There.
Yes, illegally.
Planted.
Thanks for the hydrate. And the
वो पीछे
stretch.
से आ रही है शायद. ट्रैप पे स्मोक करके.
तो पुतुम था सर.
चेंबर भाई पीछे देखना एक बार.
Ah.
Switching sides.
I'm the last thing they'll see before they
As soon as you kill the chamber, the round is winnable. Just that.
I know, right?
Oh, I see.
Thank you, Jay, for the stretch, and thank you for the 50% tip. Oh,
You know what? I'm going sheriff.
yeah, go ahead. Sheriff.
Stay awake. They strike again. Grenade.
Nope, absolutely not.
I'm coming, C. Try to stay alive.
They're here, they're here, they're here, they're here, they're here.
Oh
C.
no. Oh,
अरे साला कहाँ कैंप कर रहा है. बी की तरफ जा रहे थे. बी और सी.
No way.
Way.
Nice. Oh,
Wow, pneumonia.
No one
I
beats
should have
my
just
firepower,
spammed there. I
and
would have
not
got
this.
him. I thought, let's wait for him to land.
Yeah, that was really why are you not shooting him? I'm gonna just follow you so we can help each other.
Sure. Should we save? Should we fight? I'm gonna buy a stinger.
I'll find you.
Oh, that's a lot, eh?
Why
Oh,
are
that's
they
a...
pushing? Why are they pushing?
Someone's gonna be watching the Reyna, and the Reyna's gonna die. Planting.
Spike planted.
What the fuck?
Last player standing.
How am I the unlucky ones here?
No, 135.
Let's try.
Ying.
Dance? I'll lead.
Um,
Take hold. Grenade! Satchel out.
There's some.
Where are you?
going back a. Oh my god, what the hell? Oh my god.
Go get him. No more dreams.
Drowning sight.
Let me
Oh,
see. Oh,
behind.
Satchel out.
what the fuck, yeah.
Oh, oh no.
30 seconds left.
You are divided.
Spike planted.
Why is he put? Ah, I could clear with the trap. It's okay.
Last player
Oh
standing.
no. Not looking good. Yeah, they have stars on it. This is not happening.
They found my trap.
That's the Guardian, but okay.
Conflict is not my
Does
first
anyone have
choice,
funds?
but that choice was made.
This is not looking good. The chamber has 28 kills. No, the next person has half as kills.
I have no kills. I'm just tired. Valorant.
Where are you?
Oh, B. Okay.
Spike down A.
What the fuck?
Enemy remaining.
Please don't die.
Last 105, 105 low.
Last player
Oh
standing.
my god.
Clutch.
Oh my. I was literally just moving. Ah.
Match point.
Look your enemy in the eye. It helps with accuracy. Where are they?
Up on C. Coming C.
There. Last player standing.
65 on Jet.
Get out of my way!
Spike planted.
GG's. I don't
GG's.
think the Chamber can 1v5 clutch this.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely.
Trap destroyed.
Flawless.
GG.
Attackers win.
Ah, gosh.
GG's.
I need to switch this to this. Hold on one sec.
We should play like Swift plays or something.
We should, right? But I don't like Swift play.
Why?
I don't know why I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's like, why you don't like dicks, right? I don't know.
No,
Why?
but
Why are you
it's like
laughing?
the games are shorter, so if there's like an obvious
So you rather short dicks?
um
Should we play Overwatch instead?
I don't want to launch Overwatch right now. Wait, let me give
uh,
you
give me. What?
check your chat or your redeems.
Oh my fucking gosh. Ah! You shove it out my mouth then, huh? Shove it all up. Shove it all up.
Oh wait, I think she's asleep. Whoops.
Oh, she definitely so. I don't know, you know what we should do the 2v2.
Sure.
Thank you for the carry night. Should we just do sheriff only?
I'm fine with it.
Or like marshal only? Outlaw only, some shit like that, you know? We can only start streaming once we win in every gun, including knife. That should be like a stream idea.
Yeah, we can do that. Classic only is gonna be difficult. Or shorty only.
Oh yeah, shorty only would be the most. No, I think melee knife would be
Okay,
the
yeah,
most
I was
difficult.
not counting that, but
Mhm.
hi Astra here. Hi.
Oh my god, why are you level 500 in my lobbies? What's happening? Oh. Welcome in, Estra. How do you want us to call you? Amanda? Amanda? How do I pronounce it? Oh my gosh, I'm dyslexic. Aman? Aman?
Aman.
Aman? Aman.
Aman.
Sorry, it's too early in the freaking morning for me to like comprehend anything right now. Well, welcome in. I was about to say how's the game, but you probably feel very happy that you won. I'm gonna go crazy from this game. Save me night. It's okay, man. Yeah, thank you. Trust me. But whose strat was to have Raze and Reyna luck A on wall break round 3? I don't know.
There
The
was no.
Raze and Reyna were minds of their own. They
Yeah,
they just
our
they
Reina
just
was like lurking every round. I don't think he helped
yeah.
enter. Okay.
Apparently, it
Yeah.
is them trying those two characters for the first time or some shit like that. So yeah, I mean, good on them for trying it, but like maybe could have entry for us, but you know. I didn't got a chance to really do anything. I was just trying to smoke and keep getting shot down by y'all. Your chamber was insane.
Level 4, by the way.
Yeah, level 4 by the way. What the hell?
Have some shame, bro.
Yeah, I know, right, bro.
But I
It's
mean, it's
okay, man. You
unrated.
can
Maybe
help
it's
it.
a new account, so maybe they're like
Yeah,
leveling it up or something.
yeah. By the way, which club you support in football? Um,
Mm.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't follow football.
Same.
I I only know. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't say anything in case I get it wrong. I don't upset the fans and whatnot. I heard it's a very
Match
um
found.
cutthroat within the fandoms.
Was
So
that a
this is skirmish
4-minute
D.
queue? Oh my god, that was a 4-minute queue for skirmish D. We're so gonna get. Oh, why are half the age? Okay.
Because there's abilities in this, and
Oh,
only certain abilities can be used.
I guess I'm going chamber.
You have good taste, my friend.
Oh man, if only Viper was allowed. Anyways, yeah. Um, I I mean, you can. I was about to say like you can share with us something about football. Interesting, I guess.
Yeah, if you want.
But I have no knowledge of anything football related. And which
You
football
know
are you
what,
talking
Dasher?
about? The American
When I
football
promise
or
I'm looking out for y'all. Take them
oh
out
yeah,
there
we
and see.
there's no sheriff only or what? It's like I forgot about that. Ah,
Oof.
okay.
Fight.
I've never played in this map. Oh, this is so cool.
Enemy spotted mid. Reloading. Enemy
Oh,
spotted mid.
oh, 55 on the Phoenix. Nice
Stay
shot.
down.
Oh, oh,
Oh, my
nice
bad. My bad.
try.
My bad. My bad.
Nah, my
I
bad.
was still trying to get. I was like, damn, I've never seen this map before. So cool.
Yeah, same.
Out of trouble.
Flawless.
Nice.
Nice.
How did they see
Wait, do I
us
not get my
coming? Find a
do
way
I
through.
only get my TP? Why did
Yeah,
I
you only
pick
get your TP.
chamber then? Oh my god.
Enemy spotted mid.
Oh no.
What the fuck?
Oh,
I can't
Nice
miss.
shot.
please die.
Please die.
No.
Oh, nice try.
Oh, nice.
Flawless.
Nice one.
Wow, so embarrassing.
New stage.
Guardian.
Guardian. I wish the new stage they add like another ability or some shit like that, you know? Oh, what the fuck?
Oh my god. Oh, double dinked me. Is Bulldog the meta?
What in the world is this Phoenix?
No, I was crouching.
Try. Yeah, maybe we really need to try using the bulldog.
I'm just really bad with the Bulldog. Oh,
Nice shot, mate. Thanks for the carry, thanks for the carry.
I make space, you hold it down. Enemy spotted mid.
Not your best. Okay.
Damn.
Noise.
New stage.
Oh,
Stay safe.
I'm gonna try the Phantom, and if I get 140s, then I'm gonna switch. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Nice! Oh my god, you're so sexy.
I win again.
Oh,
I'm
no.
whiffing
So
everything.
all good.
This is gonna be fun.
I don't know what's wrong with me today. I feel like it's just a me thing.
Flawless.
Bravo! You all did. You. You lose.
I knew I heard him.
No. Oh,
Nice.
thank God I had a Vandal there. I had a Phantom there
Bonne
because
chance, mes
I
amis.
would not have sprayed that well with the Vandal. Oh,
Enemy spotted mid.
Oh, fuck.
oh, I am solo.
Oh, crazy night. Oh my god. Oh my god.
They are making this simple.
You are so hot. What am I doing?
No, why did I stop? Sure, I thought I killed him. Oh no. They were both one bullet.
No, toque.
Enemy spotted mid.
Pardon, monsieur.
Nice distraction. He looked at you.
Really?
Yeah, you dashed ahead and he looked to the side. And I peeked right then.
Should do that again.
Nice. GG.
At least I can say, Clearly, I am not doing anything.
No, all good.
Oh, then I wanna do what I'm told. Even if I mess it all up, I make a million mistakes.
Match found.
What does that no abilities are?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I really wanted chamber for the headhunter. Because like if you miss a shot, it's really quick to switch. But then I didn't have it, so it was pretty useless.
Fight.
Oh, I thought we surfing only. Okay.
Oh,
The eyes are down. Your creations
What the
were too
fuck?
primitive.
Mate, I hear hacking. I'll be
are we
honest.
doing sheriff only?
After you lah, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Just win lah.
Deleted.
Fuck.
No.
Hold on, 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 hold on.
Fulfill our mission.
Hold the front door.
Oh, I am solo.
Ah, my bad.
Huh? What the hell?
Oh, you're both.
No. We both-
Forward.
when are we switching? Or are we doing the entire thing sheriff only? Guys,
Oh,
stink.
I couldn't aim it.
No, I hit her for 110.
As one. Enemy spotted mid. Goodbye.
Use your phantom lah, use your phantom.
Should I?
Yeah.
Uh,
Why did she not shoot you at all?
I think she tried what I did a bit earlier. I just did a wide swing without shooting. It's 55 on the sky.
Turn to dust.
Nice try.
Okay, fuck this. Just use vandals and phantoms.
Eliminate.
Nice.
They
Nice.
were not good enough.
My god, the more I switch is when I get kills. It's crazy.
Oh, dinked. Sky's dinked. 140. 140.
Sekali she other side against, yeah.
She was right side at the start. Probably hiding in a corner or something. Oh. Nice.
Oh my god, really yeah. This fucking bitch so sneaky, yeah.
Don't overthink it. That's my job.
Nice. Nice.
You were a horror. I am a mountain. Keep it cool. That's how you survive.
Oh.
Oh,
The eyes are down.
nice. I think I need to white swing it for that Cypher to get thrown off. Night, that's crazy. That's so reportable there. What the fuck?
What do you mean? Nice. Oh, oh, nice.
March through them.
Oh, nice shot. Right side sky. Oh,
Stand
oh,
down.
oh. Nice. Nice.
I am not just your
Oh,
healer.
that was nice.
Don't overthink it. That's my job.
We both whip.
Yeah, that you calm down first.
Oh shit, I saw both of them. I should have just.
No, no, no.
Nice try. Oh my god, they both beat me, yeah.
Eyes are down.
Nice.
They're all dead? I have more tests to run.
We should pick both in the same direction. Which side you want to go? Left or right?
Right. Nice.
Nice.
They did the same thing.
Clockwork.
Nice.
Cry all day. Oh, they get run away, run away. Oh my gosh, you got MVP even though I got more kills. No, it's okay. I don't
Such.
care.
Are you sure?
Look, I care. Look, I care. Oh gosh, we end stream. Kinda tired.
Sure.
Is there anyone we can raid?
I don't know. I kind of want to continue with the Genshin story again, but it's like, it's late. Ah,
You can carry on tomorrow, no?
yeah.
Early face. And daddy. Who do I raid? I'm gonna raid Tez.
Do you want to do a double raid?
Up to you. Do you wanna?
Should I continue with the story or not, is what I'm thinking. Maybe I will for a bit.
Okay. Go ahead. I will raid Tizzy now. Tizzy Wizzy. I don't even have anyone in my chat. This is so depressing.
It's okay, I'll be there.
I'm not gonna do my outro because I'm kind of tired. So just copyright message and then put in there. Okay, bye chat.
Let me switch my category. It was fun though playing Valo after so long. Do you have like 7 TV? Do you see how chaotic his chat is?
How chaotic his chat is? What do you mean?
I guess you don't have 7 TV. Let me send
What
you a
is 17?
screenshot. It's a extension which lets you use like custom emotes. This is what the raid welcome message looks like for people who have 7 TV. Let me DM it to you. So it just replaces certain words with like emotes. So like in is replaced with ni in his chats. When you say my, it replaces it with this my man emote. Wait, I'm sending it. It's very chaotic.
He is a chaotic person.
Yeah, I can tell.
I love him. He's fun. Righty.
Are you gonna get something to eat? Surely there's something, right? There's like bread or something.
I don't want to eat bread. Ugh.
I mean, if you're hungry, just.
I would have starved to eat bread right now. Like, don't get me wrong, I love bread, but I've already ate quite a bit of bread today. Loki kind of sick of it a little.
I see.
If you catch my drift.
See, you said that, and now I'm not sure I catch your drift. Do you not just mean that you're sick of eating too much bread?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So fucking sick of it. Not fucking sick of it, but I'm like, I just don't want to eat it right now. I'm just gonna lay down and not think about food.
Okay. Hope that works for you.
It normally doesn't, but I have no choice because I don't want to cook at this time of the day.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Orange.
Oh wait,
You should.
I just ended stream. Dang it! I
Yeah.
wanted to.
Oh,
Oh,
28%. Try you.
what?
He's checking
Try
love
me.
percentages.
Ooh.
Orange. Oh, oops. At least we love each other a pretty similar amount.
That's crazy.
Oof. Oh my.
Oh, oh damn. See, I love you, Orange. And you hate me. That's so sad.
Let me send that to Jay.
Yeah. Oh my
Ooh.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Haha, you love me. You love me. Orange, when are we gonna play Gamble with friends?
Okay.
I think Orange is just destined to not like.
So you hate me. Okay. So you hate me.
Still below 50% is crazy.
So you hate me is what I'm getting. Oh.
4 times.
Oof.
Oh my gosh.
Oof.
Ooh.
It's okay. We can
Like,
we can hate each other equally.
it's crazy.
Enemies to lovers are coming soon.
Enemies still lovers.
Are you okay? It wasn't that funny, I think.
It's funny because you're both stream.
Yeah, obviously I was just kidding.
W trope.
W trope,
Oh
yep.
my god.
A lot of people like that trope.
Can we meet that canon in lore? Sometime.
No.
In lore, not in real life. Like a enemies to friend at least.
Sure.
Can we pin y'all against each other and be like, no wait,
Oh,
that sounds wrong.
what the hell?
Like make y'all like face each other and be like, huh, I hate you, but then y'all like become good friends. And people will be like, "Aw."
You use writing as fanfic right now.
Don't get me started. The amount of fanfics I can write about everyone and anyone.
He's
Oh
got
my
his
god, you know
walk.
I used to write Wattpad.
Sino and his team are guarding the north. We'll take this side.
I genuinely used to write. Lucky I don't remember anything I wrote anymore, but I remember one of my character was called fuck, what was it called? Ace? I think it was called Ace. His name was
Oh,
Ace. Not the Ace that we know.
Yeah,
But you
obviously.
know,
There's so many
obviously.
we can't let them get
But it
into
was
our.
back when I was still in like primary school.
Oh,
Don't
I
fret.
hope Ace didn't do very
I'm
sus
well
stuff.
prepared for this situation.
No, it was quite wholesome actually.
Okay.
Huh.
It was a
Do you have a
BL,
solution?
but like, you know,
You
it
were
was
writing
very
PM
wholesome.
I have a
in
trusty junior
primary
partner of my
school.
own. Cool, off you go, Plumpy.
What? You mean I can't?
No, but like that's not what I was doing in primary school, I think.
What were you doing in primary school?
Yeah, see, even Orange agrees. You were writing PM as a 10-year.
Come on, what's the
Hey,
holdup?
hey,
He,
hey, 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 we all have our own interests, okay?
5,000 mora.
he was like, and they would hold hands. Ooh.
Ooh, yeah, I know, right?
20,000 mora.
I was thinking Kingdom. What even is Kingdom Hearts? I've never heard of that before.
Final offer.
It's a game like with like a lot of Disney characters.
I see.
So much so I
So
failed my
much.
national. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Wait, Nationals as in
So she's a
PSLE?
hired partner.
Scored a 128.
Wait. Oh gosh, wait. 128. I forgot how the
Partners are
system
reliable
works.
too.
Wait, 128 is really bad.
Skilled negotiator.
Holy shit.
You'll see.
128 is really bad.
Oof.
That's like, that's like, that's like really bad. Oh shit. Holy moly.
We're learning
Well,
orange lore.
I mean, I guess we see the evolved form of Orange now. You know, he has grown as a person and evolved and and has become a more intellectual soul. Sure. No, yeah, I stopped gaming in secondary school. Crazy. Went from lowest to top scorer in my school.
Oh my
Wow.
god, that's crazy.
Hashtag um fuck, I forgot what I wanted to call it. What I wanted to say. Hashtag main character energy.
Yeah, it's like an anime storyline.
I know, right? But still ended up doing music. Hey, music is something you like, no? What do you mean you fucked yourself either way? Are you saying I'm fucked? Well, I am, but like, you know.
Looks like it's up to us now. Be careful, Kale.
Hey, doing music led you to us, you know, as a group now. So like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's a fuck yourself situation. You found a group of friends willing to support you no matter what. See? It's not all for nothing.
Never mind. Plumpy, it's time for revenge.
You rejected Express? For what?
You know, this reminds me of when you first arrived in a video forest.
Why would you
You were
reject
trying to help a
Express?
child retrieve a lost toy when you stumbled upon Spino Crocodile territory by
Bro really
mistake.
said I want to build my foundation from the ground.
I remember. Our first time fighting side by side.
I didn't feel like it. That is
Fighting
crazy.
side by side. I seem to recall swooping in to rescue
Oh,
you.
you hated the
from
nerds
forest
there.
rangers.
I wasn't Express, you call me as a nerd, that's crazy. I'm like dyslexic. If anything, I was not a nerd.
One with the force. Can't see?
NAPs were cooler. But there was like this, there was this like stereotype that NA kids are more rowdy, more, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know, but I always feel like maybe because my class was just even more rowdy than everyone else, so I don't see it. Yeah. Oddly enough, my wife did the same thing. We both rejected Express. Do you meet in in like secondary? Aww.
That's
That's
so
kinda...
cool. Yeah. So much lore.
Yeah, so much IRL lore dropping live on twitch.tv/ Dark Knight Plays.
At like before 8 a.m. in the morning.
I know, right?
I can't believe I used 12 rare items in one battle. Ugh. I shudder to think how this is
I'm
going to
gonna
affect
I'm
this
gonna in
group
the
of
future
gods.
make like a
The sight of that
montage of
glare.
our
Tainari, how's the
group, and
situation on
then I'm
your
gonna
end?
add
We
these
held
kind
the
of
line,
details
so it was a close
somehow.
call. But it looks like they're prepared.
RL Orange Fender Lores
The Jin are pouring
states
in.
that he rejected
This is getting
Express
precarious.
because he
margin
thinks
for
the
error just
nerds
got a
are
lot smaller.
not cool.
That's why we wanted to confirm your status. We need to consider
I was
annexing
low
it
key into
carefully.
nerdy guys, you know, when I was in secondary school.
Bad news. Another line of defense has been breached. Kale, go with them and assess
They
the
were cringe
situation. Dory and
as
I will
fuck.
hold the line here.
I, I, I don't know. I feel like smart guys are kind of...
This is not a discussion, Kale.
Like, I
Don't
was
worry about
a
us.
nerd, but
She
I wasn't
clearly still
cringe.
has plenty.
You know, I feel like I get what you mean. Like, sometimes nerds they okay, I don't want to say nerds lah. Like they're like smart, you know, and then
Need any help?
they show that they are smart, and then like they try to like, you know, ha, I'm better than you kind of energy. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what I don't like about those kind of people. Like if you're smart and you want to show that you're smart, wouldn't you want to help others instead of like belittle them?
Yeah.
What is it, Kale?
Yeah, I hate those kind of
If
smarts.
things continue like this, it won't be long before Aru village is overrun by
Just
Jinn.
imagine people
And the
who go to
sandstorms are
cons.
sure to
You
follow
can
in their
imagine the
wake.
nice people
I do have a
and the
plan,
shit people.
but I
Real.
can't guarantee it will work.
Yeah.
People.
People arrive.
People.
I don't care, whoever you are. Please
Puppy,
just help
puppy,
us.
puppy, 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 puppy. There's nice and sweet, and then there's pretentious and bleh. Real. That's the express people in my batch at the time. I see. I feel like I was the in my express, because I'm in
The
express,
only
right?
one who can help is
I
you.
was the dumb one in the
I am
class.
merely here to guide you along the correct path.
I'm not even like joking, okay? I genuinely was like the dumb one in the class. I don't fucking understand what's happening. Like, my results for um from Sec 1 to Sec 2 was okay.
I
It
am
was
a
okay,
spirit created
but
at the
then
beginning.
in Sec
I
3,
am a
oh, I
flickering
flunked
illusion.
so bad. My
I am the
teachers
shimmering light
almost
that flows from
my
the
teachers
eyes of
literally
the
had to push my
creator.
grade up in order for me to go into Sec 4.
Oh.
Otherwise, I couldn't even get into Sec 4. It was that bad. We would have vibed. Are we not vibing right now, Orange?
I think he's
Are
just
we not
trying to
vibing
say
right now?
we would have if we met earlier.
If I was born in his time.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Orange. You little shit.
Kids these
Sorry.
days, no respect for the elderly.
Hey. Otherwise, he'd be younger. And we like Orange now, you know?
I am old as well. I'm like
It's okay
10
to be
years older
old.
than you, I think. Which is a lot.
Approximately that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Orange too, no.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is, but yeah, assuming
Let's
he's
not
close to.
dox each other's age now, shall we? Let's not dog.
It doesn't matter.
Is Dark older than me?
Watch
Loki,
out!
I
Jin
forgot
incoming!
everyone's age. It's around there. You're around the same one.
I just turned 29 last week.
Oh wow, just doxing your age.
It's okay.
WCU.
I'm
Hey,
a
Knight is also
spirit
our CEO, okay?
created
Not
at the
only me.
beginning.
I I have a lot of things to handle. Other than
Nothing.
2
remembering
years
people's
older.
I
age.
am a spirit created at the beginning.
Are you the oldest one, Knight?
Probably.
I don't know how
am a
old
flickering
Jay
illusion.
is. But I don't think she's like mid 20,
Who?
you know. Jay,
No, she's definitely younger than me.
right?
Has she not told you? I feel like she has told you.
I don't remember. I think she did. I I can't remember age. Don't
I am
ask
a
a
flickering
lady her
illusion.
age. Well, lucky for us, um, she's not just a lady. She's our friend. So yeah, Synth is a baby though. Somehow,
Look at
I think
her.
I'm the youngest one.
Look at her sleeping on my shoulder.
Synth is, I think Synth is just a few years older than me, just like 2 3 years.
What's wrong, Plumpy? I've never seen you
Yeah,
so agitated
I
before.
actually don't know Synth's age, but
That's.
guessing
But
around
how do you?
I
with
think
her.
she's mentioned it on stream. It was her birthday a couple of weeks ago, right? I think she
Right.
mentioned. You
I
know what?
don't
I'm not gonna
remember.
say it because, yeah.
Yeah, I
Do
know.
you know what
Yeah,
Kale is reciting?
let's not dox each other. Why are we talking about age? Let's talk about something else. Oh wait, how was your sleep? Do you have work today? Are you doing good? Amazing, right?
I am the shimmering light that flows from the
Just
eyes of
know
the
she's
creator.
the second youngest. Yeah, she is. No wait, how old is Rocky again?
Honestly, let's not talk about that. But I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
never
she's the
mind.
second
Never
youngest.
mind. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
sleep
Sleep
or
or shit,
shit.
work is shit. Matt have been. You know, it's okay. It's okay, Orange. You have us to cheer you up, right? Right. We're
It's a
here to
song composed by the
to
goddess of
put a smile
flowers,
on your
but
face.
very few records of it remain. Even is.
Not to my knowledge.
The Jinn
No
have
one
actually
was
quieted
online yesterday.
down.
I was online.
Although,
What do you mean?
no, it's more than that. It looks like they're showing
I've always been
submission.
online. Always online,
Hmm.
Orange.
Clearly, the songs left by the goddess of flowers have a soothing effect on them.
I mean,
I
while
mean,
I
At
while
the
I
was,
was
very
on.
least, they're much
yeah, I
comforting.
woke
I
up
was
from my
on, no.
sleep and I saw that
Oh,
it's like,
yeah. No, I was asleep too. Yes, I remember it. This is during the, yeah.
yeah,
You
we
only
have
woke
like the
up when.
reverse sleep schedule. I also
Yeah.
slept all morning today, like afternoon too. I woke up in the
I
evening.
catered I catered to the American side, unfortunately.
Really? Let me try. I am a spirit
Hey, but you can't blame
created at
me.
the
A lot
beginning.
of my viewers are actually not from our region. A lot of my active viewers are either in like
Don't stay away. I'll stop.
It seems
the
like the song
US
only
or
works when Kale recites it.
either in the
But
Europe
why?
side or like yeah,
Kale.
or they're British, there's Australians, there's yeah, not from around here a lot of them. It's unfortunate but I shall be the night entertainment in Mono. What do you mean the night entertainment? What?
Any luck?
Why you laugh? 我又说，你为什么在笑？来，why you laugh? Excuse
Um,
me.
Don't worry about it.
What?
Nothing. The night entertainment just sounds kind of sus.
When I heard that loud rumbling in the
Okay.
distance, I thought the shifting
I don't
sands
think
had
always
bust
would be
open the
doing that kind
gates
of
to some
stuff.
ancient treasure vault. Turns out it was just you guys.
I don't think he would.
That sounds like.
Want to see my OnlyFans?
Wait, let me pet that.
Send me over, send me. I will subscribe to it so fast. The pin of shame. The pin of shame. Imagine. Oh my gosh. I would low key open an OnlyFans just to put like cock photos and it'll be just actual like images of chickens.
I'm gonna put this in mono chat.
Oh my god, Sin is gonna be like the fuck.
Is that okay? Or which I should ask for? I mean, it is a Twitch chat, which is like a public thing. So like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a clown. Oh no. It's okay, you're our clown. We love you. Just do whatever.
It's been a long while. Did you miss me?
Man, I miss talking to Orange. When was the last time I talked to him? I don't remember. It's a few days ago probably.
Let's save the catching
Can't
up
be
for
that
later.
long.
First, I gotta get you guys out of there.
No one should take me seriously. I take you very seriously. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You're as serious as a serious person can get serious. Okay, I'm gonna shut the fuck up because I don't know what the fuck I just said.
Also, Owen, you should follow the person who redeemed first on my stream today.
Okay, it was a mistake on my part. It was a mistake on my part. Oh my gosh.
Use the wrong account.
I accidentally. you- But yes, follow our Twitch. I'll make our new own Twitch. That's the Pabuka. I actually feel so stupid.
It's okay.
This should be the right mechanism.
It's honestly
Wen
such a.
Wen, can you handle it?
I don't
What?
fucking know what I was doing.
There we go.
I don't fucking know what I was thinking actually.
Come on, let's leave this place.
Anyways, yeah. But yes, I do night entertainment. You guys do daytimes.
I mean, we've been streaming like all night.
Yeah, we stream all night though, so I feel like we're the one doing night entertainment here. No, always
Especially.
is like afternoon or evenings.
Yeah.
You know, ours is like midnight. No one does in the morning. For our time. Oh, Rocky does mornings in our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night isn't for any. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that I specifically got all of us in such a strategic way. Honestly, I'm so proud that I was able to somehow come up with this team. That we're able to like almost 24 hours that we one of us streaming.
No idea what they're
You know.
planning this time. They were
Yeah.
If we all stream like in a day, like all our time zones, we're able to complement
How
each
have you been,
other's
Jet?
to make it so that it's a cycle.
Well, since we last met,
Anyways,
I've started my own band.
night
of
as
sorts.
in
We've
for
actually made quite a
NA.
name for
Yeah,
ourselves.
we
Oh,
can
yeah.
we
On a slightly
if we
different
only
note, I
wow
have some good
if we
news.
only take into account NAPs.
I finally
Real.
took care of Masai.
No, but also must think
Not much
about
to write home about. It was just another day.
the
Found
Asia
his
side,
hideout,
because
dragged him out of his
most
cozy
of us
little
are from
bed.
Asia except for the two white people. We have one Rocky, one Rock, and one Jades.
Rock and Jade.
Yeah. But you do know it's even harder to arrange a day where all of us can go stream. It is true. It is gonna be harder. The thing is that Rocky's
He tried to talk me into staying to play
schedule
you,
right
as
now
usual.
seems to be
But I'm
very,
way past
very
that by
free.
now. There
Sir,
was nothing he could
technically it's
say to
not
save
that
his life.
difficult because Jay also is able to call us anytime as well, kinda. Not anytime, but
Not
like
not on weekdays. She has work.
yeah, but like weekends is like much easier.
Yeah.
So like
What about you
technically it's
guys?
possible. It's
Bet you've
just
forgotten all about me and Bem Bam,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, as long as we like decide well ahead of time, we should be able to arrange something on weekends.
Yeah. She like me for real. For. Oh my god, oh wait, we should meet up IRL with Knight when he comes back. It's the SG crew.
Wow. Sounds like I should make time to visit some other
Yeah.
nations too. Anyway, what brings you to Gurabad?
Anyone up for drinks? I'm just kidding. I don't even drink. I don't even
Yeah.
I don't even like alcohol.
Oh, that bottle?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't drink
honestly,
either.
honestly, all of my friends really thought that I would be like the type that would drink a lot when I'm like of age. And then when I turned of age, I drank once and never again.
Yeah, I'm also
No,
like,
not never again, but like rarely, so rarely, and like, uh, I never got drunk.
yeah, same. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like I've never had alcohol, but it's like, I don't enjoy it. And I don't feel like I need it
Weekend
to have
karaoke.
fun.
Oh my god, yeah, we can meet up for karaoke.
I can't drink anymore because of my meds, and I'm so sad. Oh,
I bought so many bottles. Ah,
uh,
it's
sad.
okay. You can use those alcohol to cook food. How about that? You know? Or maybe you can donate them to the needy. AKA
The
not
DD.
us. Food I can't eat. What do you mean food you can't eat?
Because it'll have alcohol, so he won't be able to eat it.
No, just like use it to cook off the stuff, like if you cook the alcohol you won't have the alcoholness anymore.
Long dream that was.
It's just like to remove like
It's been a
gamey
while, my
smell or
master.
whatnot.
Oh, and you're here too, little
What do you
wildcat.
mean you're needy, Orange?
The four
That's
of us
crazy.
back together again. Imagine that. In
Yeah, I was
truth,
about to say
it
something
was at
even worse. I was,
first.
I was about to say
I was
like,
none too
why
pleased
not
when those
donate your
miscreants barged
bottle of
in.
wine and
But it did give
whatnot
me the
to
chance
like
to reunite with you,
homeless
my
shelter
master. So I
and
shall
like
overlook your
children?
folly.
I was like, wait, maybe not.
Oh,
Anyways,
After we last
um,
parted ways, I merged with the land
guys,
beneath
don't drink.
Gurabad to suppress the dark calamities stirring in the depths.
It's best to
yeah.
not drink. If you want to drink grape juice, not
Yeah.
fermented grape juice.
Or just drink water.
Uh, yeah,
It
just
rekindled the
drink cold
flame of
water.
vengeance within the Jinn, depriving
I love
Gurabad
cold
of any
water.
hope of peace.
But you know what I love more?
I fought against it for a long,
Grape
long time.
juice.
Until one day, I sensed a change in a
I feel
foreign
like
land to
I
the
feel like not a lot
west.
of people know why I love grape juice.
Suddenly,
I also
the
don't know why I
pitch-black
love grape juice
abyss
so
fell
much, but I love
silent.
grape juice a lot. I feel like a child for that. But like grape juice is amazing. Like Ribena, you know Ribena?
Yeah.
Oh! Oh! If you add like Sprite with Ribena, oh!
Once satisfied that their
Oh!
I've
dark
never
power
tried
could no
that, but
longer
I
bewitch the Jinn,
probably will.
I too fell into a deep
It is so
slumber,
good.
from which I have
If
only
if
now
I ever go
awoken.
to the UK, prepare to hear about alcohol poisoning. Oh
Okay.
gosh.
Oof.
Yeah, if we, maybe one day we should all go to the UK, like the whole mono crew, like off
Uh,
collab. We go to the UK to meet
yeah, she's gonna like slap the door in our faces, that's
Jay.
right.
Why have you returned to Gurabad, my
Which
Well, it's
is
master?
been 5 years.
And why is my
which
It's
city-swept
is
been
homeland in
sad, because
disarray
like,
once more?
sure, okay, no, I'm not gonna say that on stream.
Nah. Let's go Japan together. Oh my god, yes, let's go Japan together. Let's go Korea together too.
Well, basically, Sumeru's in danger
I
and
would
a
love
lot of her
that.
friends are affected. Some bad guys messed around with her,
So
Yeah.
who's paying for it?
now
Yeah,
they've
who's
released a
paying for
Jin in
it?
here.
Just kidding. We all pay
We
for our own
managed to
stuff.
chase off the
We
culprits,
can
but
have an
we have no idea how to
onsen.
seal this place
What's an
back up and
onsen
stop the
episode?
It's
sandstorms.
like hot springs. Wait, should I show Orange my other outfit? Do you remember?
Oh my god, yes, yes.
And I need to turn on video studio.
The shitless man.
Yeah, that's like an onsen outfit.
What's an onsen episode?
It's
What do you
like
mean
a
episode?
in anime. There's like beach episodes. There's like onsen episodes where
Also
they
like a
go.
day lah, basically.
Yeah,
I see. I mean, sure. Wait, does that mean we're to get naked? Oh fuck. I hate being naked in front of people.
I mean you gotta do it for the content.
Excuse me? What content?
The mono OnlyFans.
Mono OnlyFans. An episode where everyone goes in like an inn to staycay and we go to the hot spring and stuff. Crazy. I think it's only like the males will go with the males and then like the two girls will go alone. Kind of thing, right? Isn't it like that?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god, I'm gonna be surrounded by men. I wonder how my boyfriend's gonna think of that. Not mixed bath. Yeah. Ugh, I got traumatized by seeing all my secondary school friends.
Hey, get ready to
Everything. Oh
see
gosh.
this. There. Oh, Jay is acting
Oh,
as.
oh.
Wait, what happened to my game though? Why my? Okay. I like how Jay is censoring my chest.
I know,
Whoops.
right?
Whoops.
Oh hell yeah. Hot man on my screens. Oh my gosh, like you're so sexy.
Uh huh.
I wonder what the booba does. I might get banned from onsen cause of tattoo. They can ban you because you have tattoos. How does that work? I don't understand that. But hot man on my screen. Yeah, in Japan. That's crazy. Wait, why would they ban you for having tattoos? That doesn't make sense. And how many tattoos do you have?
Child's play. I shall quell the gin and scatter the storms.
Yeah, like what's the rules on that?
Only one? I think it's
Like,
fine. Is it big? If it's like something really big and like vulgar, I think then maybe yeah. But I need to get more. See. I don't think I could ever get a tattoo because of the
why?
pain.
Oh,
I cannot do pain that well. Maybe I'll get like a small one, like writing my name or something like that. You know, sure.
Thank you, Lilupar.
But like, you know those like actual artwork. Oh, I don't think I can. I like the pain. Okay, you see, yeah, I'm sure you do, Orange. I'm sure you love the pain. You love it so much, yes.
you should get a tattoo like this.
Like what?
You.
No need to thank me, my
If you pay for
master.
it.
I have granted many wishes in my
If you
time.
pay for it,
and
I
this was
see.
the most
I mean,
trivial of
where
them
do I
all.
put it? Should I put it on my head?
Up to you.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah.
The sandstorm's gone. The sun shines bright.
Honestly, I
again.
kind of want to, get like mono as a tattoo.
When I said that we'd meet again under a lovelier
Yeah,
sun,
we should
Like
have
the
like
word
a
mono
logo.
is now.
exactly.
We
how
should
I
have like
imagined
some
it.
sort of a symbol, like
Oh yeah, maybe I can get like one of my friends to help me graphic design it. A logo for us.
Although, honestly, my mom would love to hang out with you more, even if the weather sucked. Well, there shouldn't be any more gin breaking out, right? Are we okay to head back?
Sounds good. You can
My God.
introduce us to your other friends.
So sick to listening to this song over and over again, Loki.
hey, what's up?
Another
Are you listening
adventure
to?
begins.
I'm listening to my own song.
Lovely.
I like hear my own voice. I'm just like, oh my fucking gosh. No, I do not like my own voice, right? I know I'm just hearing it constantly right now because I'm trying to stream it. But I'm just like, oh, fuck. Oh. Like, don't get me wrong, I love this song. But it's to the point I already listened to it a whole bunch before I released it, right? I'm just like, I have to hear it another whole bunch to stream it. It's just like, save me. Save me from my own misery.
Rev the engines.
So, this is the Temple of Silence. I've heard the Nagarjanites mention it in passing, but I never imagined it would be this big. It's colossal.
I thought the temple moved to the rainforest ages ago. When did they scamper back into the desert?
I don't know. This plan sounds a little too risky for my liking.
Even in King Deshret's
There's
day,
always two
this
there.
was experimental technology.
I
We have
don't
no
know.
idea what could happen if we activate it.
Orange, are you there?
Orange, are you there?
Well, unless you know of another viable alternative for the Akasha terminal, I'm afraid this is our only option.
The plan is sound, and the risks are manageable. However, the scale of this project is enormous. Even with Carvey, Faruzan, and every other scholar of mechanics working on it full-time, the proposed
Oh,
modifications
Ace is
won't
back.
happen
Ace.
overnight.
Ace. AC.
Welcome back.
You're back.
Yeah,
Everything
I
all right?
started stream again after that. We played Valorant with Yu, and then he ended stream, and I'm back to Genshin.
And
Ace, I
who are they?
missed you. How are you doing?
Friends of yours?
Pretty much everyone in the Temple of Silence is. This guy's Kave, and the one next to him is Alhaitham.
Hello.
I
I'm Jet,
ended stream
and
and I
this
was
is Lily
studying. I see.
Ooh. What you studying?
A famous name from the history books.
Pleased to meet you. A friend of a friend is a friend of mine. as
I'm
they
hungry.
say.
Good, but I'm dead. Only 6 a.m. Do you have like an exam or something?
Who's they?
Apparently.
Huh? Do people not say that?
Rust for a project? Like Rust the programming language? No exam is the shocker.
Not in the desert. Friends you can trust, but friends of friends? Gotta keep an eye on them.
I see.
Still, I do trust the traveler's judgment. I'm sure you're good people.
At least you
The
have the
sandstorms
family
have calmed
friendly
down.
tag on your.
I take it the Gurabot problem is resolved?
Do
What
I?
did you find?
You do.
Oh. I'm sure.
Remove that shit. I'm gonna start swearing. It's not gonna be family friendly anymore. Shifa bitch. Oh, you tibai. You kaninabe.
See, I also have say sown. You
Sea
Genshin.
salt.
Oh, Orange is back.
Genshin. Orange.
No Valo that we've
No
had.
Valorant.
We were just playing Valo for like, I don't know, 2 hours or something.
Yeah, for 2 hours. Bit less than that. A bit less than that.
And after getting all smarmy with us,
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I think you wanted to say something to you, but I think he's forgotten by now.
Yeah, I forgot already.
Yeah,
Wow.
I guessed as
Thanks for
much.
being there to help them.
So, this mystery man
okay.
openly
He's
admitted that
probably
he was merely
saying
a
something
harbinger
like, I
subordinate.
miss Orange. And I wish he was here.
Is there something weird about that?
In VC with Earth so we can yep with him too.
I was gonna ask you to
I was
play
gonna
WoW, but
ask
you had
you.
the stream before me. Yeah, my internet crashed. And then
Yeah,
it took like,
unfortunate.
oh, the code off isn't gonna work with the PNG. I'm gonna refund that for you. I mean, I could just, yeah, it'll take time. I'm not gonna do that now. I could create a PNG for the code off thing. Oh, and you need 1 hour? Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, I still remember when I was still, when everyone called me Uni. Or Uni.
I assume you aren't naive enough to expect answers from an enemy. Well deduced. Our commander
And every time
Torre
someone
died
says,
in
oh, they're gonna
outcry.
Uni, I don't like going me, what? Anyways. Another reason why I changed my name, by the way.
There was a
Because of
hot
that.
guy in uni.
Yeah.
You wish?
What do you mean I
Are
wish?
you wondering about his true identity?
Do you
Or do you
not
think there's a
wish
big
there was a
conspiracy
hot guy
behind
in
all this?
uni?
If I
wouldn't
was
go
going
as
to
far as to
Uni.
call it a conspiracy. Just the simple fact that having someone to
okay.
shift the blame on tends to prove useful should trouble come knocking
Degree
later.
college for the Indians.
Crazy.
The most important thing for now
Napegupa,
is to solve the
otake.
immediate problem. Perhaps that man knew you wouldn't
Wait,
have the
Nai, when will you
resources
be
to
back
investigate
again?
his background and so didn't put much effort into disguising himself.
7th June, I think. Is that a Sunday? I think.
So far away.
Yeah.
So far away. Close my eyes and I can see a world
This is all
waiting
getting a little
for me.
cryptic for me.
Oh my god,
I'll
wait, I
let
think
you
you'll be able to
guys
meet
talk while
Ace,
I
no?
take a walk with Lilupar.
What state are you from? Like from? 'Cause I've lived in a lot of places in India. I am Bengali, but I have mostly lived in Mumbai for like half my life, I think. And then Singapore for like the last 4 years or so.
Crazy.
Jet? Aren't you with the Blazing Beasts?
W
What a
Half-Life.
coincidence. Didn't expect to run into you here.
W for
W4.
4 years.
We're mercs. You can run into us anywhere. Who's this with you?
So, did you find the solution you were looking for in the Temple of Silence?
You bet we did. This place is incredible. It has everything. So far, we've discussed a plan and verified its feasibility. Building a new system
How
from
come
scratch is
SG
out of
next
the
year
question.
maybe? Ooh.
So
Oh.
our only option is to modify
Oh my
the
gosh.
Akasha using certain
Text us when you
resources we
do.
hope to find in the mausoleum of King Deshret.
Maybe we can do a meet out. Teehee teehee.
According to certain sources in the
I
Temple
love
of
meeting
Silence,
out with my
there is a core
friends.
device in King Deshret's mausoleum known as Aru. Little is known about this device in academic circles, which suggests it was hidden quite effectively. If these sources prove
Oh my god.
correct, the
我真的
energy
舍不
contained
得，我
within
真的要
Aru
吃
may be
东西啊
sufficient to power our
Oh.
Akasha renovation plan.
I'm so hungry.
However, this raises difficult questions regarding technological
getting bread.
integration.
But
The
it's bread.
sages are still
Oh.
debating it.
So flipping hungry.
Yeah, but I'm sure they'll reach a compromise.
Bread,
once they get
bread. I like bread. I have a lot of bread.
I love bread too, you know. It's just 我吃了这么多 I
Do
eat so
you
much, and
know
I'm just
what
like,
Makar Tondia is? No, I don't. I feel like I've heard people say that. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know what it means.
What does that mean?
The people of the rainforest are always cautious when it comes to desert technology. But times of crisis like this leave us with little choice.
Paimon has a question. Is this the same Aru we've heard of before? It's sealed
Yo,
off, right?
don't. My favorite Southern Marathi.
King, Ibis King, and Crocodile King are locked up.
Does it insult?
Please tell me it's not something very bad.
Well remembered.
Monkey.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Face, I guess. Monkey face with a bit of pizzazz. I see.
According to our records, Aru was the most brilliant creation King Deshret ever conceived of. Built by divine
That's
and
not very
immortal artisans
nice. Let's
working
not use
together.
that.
It was a miraculous accomplishment.
Yeah.
And it lies hidden deep within the king's mausoleum to this day.
Ooh, our
Oh my
conquest.
god.
Hi, Lily.
Lily! Oh my god, what about you?
That
Hi
being
Lily,
said,
how are
What
you?
Aru actually does and why it was built, those are deep
Hello,
secrets we are
hello.
not privy to.
Yeah, we're doing the Archon quest while yapping.
Oh my god, Lily.
Until recently, I wouldn't have been optimistic that
Oh my
the place
gosh, I
even
still remember how
exists.
Lily would be like.
The only reason I'm inclined to believe it now is because we heard
That
it
wasn't
from
just a
that
Ibis
picture.
King
wasn't
Thoth
just...
himself at his temple. The tale of how the three
I'm actually
retainers of Al
here.
Akhmar were imprisoned in
talking.
Aru.
Unions are meant to be used for some
totally
people.
gets that.
You know
When
what?
Paimon first heard
You're
about
not
it, she
wrong,
thought
but
it
like,
sounded
let's
pretty
not use it.
unbelievable
Let's not use it as much as possible.
Ibis King
Insults
told
can
us
be
people
bad.
trapped in Aru,
It
and that they had
creates
to answer 3
negativity.
questions to get out.
I think I
I
remember.
still remember Lily
What
used to
causes our rise and fall? What
try to make
obliterates
me
love
fold
and
for
hate?
Drafen.
And what determines truth and
Fold?
falsehood?
Crazy.
Those were the 3
Yeah.
questions, right?
Did you pull for Nicole or are you saving for Cinderella? I didn't. I did pull. Wait. Oh yeah, I lost my 50-50 to Mizuki.
Mizuki?
Not crying.
Yes.
Funny.
Yume Mizuki.
She showed
Mizuki.
up here earlier.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Had another lady with her too.
Nah, I can't
Both
read
said they knew
my
you.
dev
They
names
contacted the
very
sages,
more
claiming they
I
might be
learned
able
this.
to offer some assistance.
Not a bad loss though, yeah, because I think it was my first constellation, so
Really? They came here to help out?
wait, I'm missing the dialogue. Had another lady with her, both said they know you. Most likely Lauma.
Yes, really.
Top
It
10
was just
words
before you
ever.
got back.
Okay.
One of them said she's
What are
made
your
Dark Cry
top
her
10
home.
words, you?
If she's the person you were talking about, then
Well, definitely
Looks like
fuck
betting
is
on
inside
Aru
that
was
one
the
of
right
them.
choice.
See? They're right over there.
Probably like
I hate Genshin.
probably dicks.
Okay.
Probably men.
Okay.
Probably I don't fucking know. What words do I normally use on a day-to-day basis?
Take my money. Be sad that I leave game money wasted. Yeah.
Why, hello.
I kind of feel the same way about Valorant, so I've stopped spending in that game because like one day.
You know what? Crazy.
Okay. Because one day I'm not gonna play Valorant anymore, and yeah, I know I've already spent too much money on that game, so yeah, I don't want to keep spending more.
Yeah, I've also told myself not to spend too much or any more money on Val. But like, you know, you never know.
I was crazy
Honestly,
once.
Early. We almost got locked down.
I should get my boyfriend to be the one that buys stuff for me, you know?
An invisible barrier has appeared around
Oh my god, he's going through the cleansing process.
all travel in and out.
Yeah.
Crazy
No, but I
how I
look
stopped
forward to get
playing
my
Genshin.
boyfriend. I look forward to get my. I wanna like have my boyfriend buy me stuff in Val.
Like the couple stuff. that they released with the
Yeah, I thought
sprays.
that'd be
No one can
cute.
enter. Sumeru
Yeah.
has become a lonely island.
Crazy how I stopped playing Genshin
Actually, no. This has nothing to do with
after
them.
dropping too
I
much on it.
suspect it's a defense mechanism within
It's
Irminsul
okay,
itself.
Orange. You can always get back into
Irminsul
the
is the
game
source
and
of
fall back
Teyvat's
into the
ley
rabbit
lines,
hole.
after all, and Sumeru is the nation closest to it.
Yeah. Thankfully, I don't really spend too much on games. I mean, too much is
Guys,
subjective, I guess.
guys, please go follow the first in nice channel.
Yeah. I'm obligated to go back into it.
I imagine this function was put in place to
Only if
seal
I
the
was rich and
entire
could buy
region off in
Forza.
the event of serious damage, preventing the
I don't know who
disaster from
Forza
spreading
is.
to the rest of Teyvat.
I
It
think
may
he's
have been
talking about the
implemented
racing
long
game,
ago.
Forza Horizon.
Oh, I see.
I wouldn't play Val.
Anyways, do you play any other games other than Val?
He plays
You know, there's
Repo.
such a... Oh, yeah! We need to play Repo. Do you have Gamble with friends, Ace?
Currently, that does appear to be the case, which is
I
precisely
did
why
one
I
stream
am
of
here. This
FF6,
is a
Forza
critical
Horizon
moment for the
6,
world,
because I have
and Sumeru is the
like a
eye of
trial
the
of
storm.
Xbox Game Pass, so I could play it.
Oh, it's crazy. I've done too much to not go back.
I'm surprised
you managed
to convince her to come
Well,
to Sumeru.
see you on the other side, Orange.
The sad thing
Oh.
about Genshin for me is that I started on an America's account because the person who introduced me was a streamer from America. And yeah, I started there, so I just kept playing on it, and now I can't play with my Asia friends.
Indeed. Even for someone of my wisdom and eloquence,
Do not do it. I
it's
can't
tested
not
my
do
skills
it.
to the limit.
And why should it concern me that... Place?
My C6. Oh no. My C6 Purina is waiting for me. Oof.
Wolf? You're barking again?
I said oof because
Oh.
C6ing a character is not easy unless you spend like hundreds of dollars.
Judging by your tone,
Explain to you how
suppose you
much.
don't?
Yeah, I don't even know because I've never like topped. I've never swiped for a character. I only buy like the Lunite Pass thing. Hundreds? Okay, it's probably like thousands. I said do not redeem it, scam. I fucking wish. Okay, probably like 1,000.
Sounds like you don't know much about my past. And
Oh wait,
here
you're
I
so
thought you
rich.
knew
Maybe you can buy
everything.
me some stuff too.
All I know
You know,
is that the
hashtag sugar
Ibis King
daddy.
is the source of your power.
Be like,
He
Daddy,
was
could
quite
you
a
please
prominent
buy me
moon
this?
envoy once upon a
Please.
time. So I do know a thing
Luck
or
was
two
so
about
shit. I
him.
dumped one. Oh my god. I'm guessing there's a K missing there. Because $1.5 is not a lot. I hate myself. Yeah, 1.5K is. I mean, that's crazy dedication though. Like,
As for your past, I have ways to
sweet
learn the
father,
full
can our
story if I
house
wish
spare
to.
some primo sweet
But everyone
father?
has secrets they'd rather keep to themselves. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, okay, I'm gonna find something to eat. I'm
I'm
too hungry
glad
for
you see
this.
it that way, Miss Nicole.
Okay.
Be right back.
The most money I spent on a game was CS2. That was a lot of money, but in the end, I made all the money spent. Daughter, I'm afraid I'm piss poor.
I've chosen to call Nodcry home, which is why I did my part in its hour of need. That doesn't mean world savings become a habit with me. I have no particular desire to play hero in Sumeru, thank you.
I understand. Human
Other
emotions do
that
not
guy,
appear
what
and
has my
disappear
chat
without
turned
cause.
into?
There is always a reason to be found behind both salvation and destruction. Still, if time has taught me anything, it's that human emotions are often complex and in conflict. That's why people change their minds about things all the time. But that's where we angels come in. Our duty ultimately is to guide people towards their deepest, truest desires and help bring them to fruition.
Oh, sweet father, the business. Oh, that's crazy. Wait, let me. That has to become the new pinned message. Wait, let me save these pins in like the Hall of Fame channel on my server. Why'd you pin it? Ah. That's a crazy message. It has been pinned. Okay, where's my game? I lost my game, okay.
So I wish to hear about your past, because I do not believe you are motivated by hatred alone. And if we still arrive at different conclusions in the end, that's okay.
You all should follow each other, by the way. You're all streamers in my chat right now. Let me shout you out, all of you again. At Lily. At I already did. Nice. Oh, I like how Stream Elements just added my YouTube shout out right at the end there.
I refuse.
I refuse.
What? But I set the atmosphere and everything. Isn't this supposed to be the moment when we finally open up to one another?
Is it? Maybe I'm not so good at reading the atmosphere.
Well, group SO is a thing. Yeah, if you have Seribot, you can do MSO and mention multiple people and it shouts them out together.
You're right, Nicole. There's more to me than just hatred. Had it consumed me, I'd be left stuck in the past forever, never living in the present.
Seri not.
But I don't think that your guidance can change my mind.
Yeah, I learned it
All-consuming
from another
sands,
streamer friend of
the
mine.
bloodshed, both deserved and undeserved. Those
Died,
old
yes.
emotions cling to me
Are
like a
you
shadow.
okay, Is?
Do you wish to shake them off?
No. I hope to remember them forever. Those emotions and memories shaped me into the person I am today. They'll always be a part of me.
Those eyes are crazy.
In that case, would you like to hear my perspective, at least?
Sure. It's not every day you get to hear an angel's opinion.
A long, long time ago, when the angels still walked freely upon the earth, I found life tedious.
Gonna get a coffee, reach uni from train and alive, then sleep and
Lukewarm
lecture.
relationships. Things weren't nearly as interesting as they are now. And yet, since the angel's demise, I have found myself missing those days on more than one occasion.
Yeah, I
Human emotions
remember
are often
sleeping
attached to a
in lectures
person,
a bit too.
place, or an object.
Like,
when those things are gone,
for the first
the
3
memories
years of
quickly
college, I
fade,
was pretty
and the emotions slip away
paid
along with
attention for
them.
everything, but then final year, I was like,
If Sumeru were
yeah,
destroyed, both rainforest and desert would be no more. With the object of your hatred wiped from existence, it would not
done
take
with all my
long for
uni
the
work till
memories
next week.
buried
I remember
deep in your
skipping
heart to
lectures.
slowly fade.
Yeah, I used to skip some lectures too, especially ones where like you know the prof's not gonna say anything useful, and they're just gonna like send the presentation slides later, and you can just read them and be done with it.
Both love and hate are intense emotions, but they are nothing compared to the void left behind when they disappear.
I remember Minecrafting during lectures peak 2019. 4 hours of practicals, I already did them at home, so I'm just upload them from my pen drive and sleep in a corner. Oh, that's
most
nice.
sophisticated, Miss Nicole. But anyone focused on the future could only ever applaud the destruction of the things they hate. Still, I'm a special case. Someone once told me that human memory is more selective than a Mora-hungry merchant choosing between customers. We all need a reality check once in a while, so we don't forget the truth. As much as I dislike Sumeru, this is no way for it to perish. All right, you win. I'll help you out a little, but I won't work for free.
Yes, I go to uni to chill and hang out. Yeah.
How much will you need? You're not gonna milk this for all it's worth, are you?
What do you think?
I'll be upfront with you. I don't have much more on
I
me.
try to stay ahead of this.
If that's
Wow,
what you
that's
need, I could borrow some from Alice. Or perhaps I could pay in sculptures. The ones I carve are actually worth quite a lot.
that's very scholarly of you. Do you do well at uni? Are you like top of the class? So no one cares bother asking me questions. I see. I do fine.
Just cover my travel expenses.
Are you being modest or?
Huh? Is that all?
That's all. Given all the people I owe favors to, I can just about justify a trip to Sumeru. Yehoda!
No. Okay.
Here, boss! What do you need?
What's your CGPA?
I'm going back to Sumeru for a while. While I'm away, you'll be in charge of the curatorium.
I don't bother trying my 100%. You gotta have fun. Yeah. I felt the same way. 4.2. Yours is out of 5? Honestly, if you're doing a unit weeks in advance, you're probably doing insanely well. Yeah.
Me? I'm in charge? Whoa! Don't worry, boss. You can count on me!
I see. Ours was like out of 10 when I was in Mumbai University. I had like a 8.9 or something. I don't know. It was really brought down by my first year grades because like first year I did really bad. I like kind of chilled out a bit too much after school. I was like, let's chill in college. And for later, like third and fourth year, I would constantly get like 9.8 and 9.7 stuff. But yeah, my first year really brought down my cumulative.
And that was how the ingenious Angel Nicole brought you the perfect person for the job in your hour of need. Hip hip hooray!
I did not make that mistake when I went to NUS though. There I was like locked in. It's like 9.7, but it's supposed to be like 9. I see.
That was far more detailed than necessary. Not lacking in embellishment either. I never thought I'd return. Especially not the desert. But life doesn't always go as planned, I suppose. What's Candace up to? I don't think I've seen her yet.
Candy's nuts.
She's still taking care of things in our village. Should be joining us before too long.
Ace, you should go to NUS too. I didn't study for one subject, they just yapped in that paper and almost got full.
Oh, and
That's crazy.
sorry. Hope we're not interrupting anything. We have some good news, though.
We're planning to go to the mausoleum of King Deshret to look for the legendary Aru, then use it to try and restore the Akasha system.
NUS, it's like National University of Singapore. It's, I think for comp science, it's like the 4th best university in the world right now.
According to records in the Temple of Silence, the mausoleum houses something called Aru's Chute, which can be used to establish connection with Aru.
We still have some time before we leave, so there's no rush.
By the way, who are these two new faces?
Just call me Nefer. I'm based in Nodcry. Did I hear you mention Aru?
I remember doing the same thing, but it was something like system architectures or something.
Correct.
Well, I happen to have a connection with one of the 3 retainers imprisoned inside, the Ibis King. I'm
Never
here to
hot.
get things done.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I think I should come with you.
That sounds perfect.
Miss Nefer, are you from the desert by any chance?
Why do you ask?
I don't know. There's a familiar air about you. Plus, you mentioned Candace. Sorry, I don't mean to pry. It was just a random thought.
Dia's nice too. Like her kit is bad, but
Dia, an Eremite mercenary.
lore
Our work
wise she's
usually keeps
really
me out in the
cool.
desert.
I'm on good terms with Dory, and she's
I
mentioned
had made
you all
3
before.
ecom websites before,
It's
so it was
nice
easy
to
when the
finally
theory
put
was boring, so I
faces to
just
the
yapped.
names.
Sino hot, Dia hot.
However, my associate here is probably less well acquainted with you. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Actually, I'm a little better acquainted than you might think.
All hot.
Huh. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? It looked like you spoke without moving your mouth.
Ventriloquism. I have heard tell of it before.
What is it, Kale?
It's you. You're the voice who's been speaking in my head.
Lizard. Nothing beats a Jet 2 Lizard. And right now, you can save 50 Lizard per Lizard. That's 200 Lizard. Off for a family of Lizard.
Welcome back.
You encouraged me to report my dreams to the Dendro Archon, and got me to recite that magic prayer.
I have many titles.
Blizzard.
But let's go with the most pertinent one. I am Nicole Rain, an angel who has lived since ancient times.
An angel? Sounds like a big deal, but, what exactly is an angel?
Oh, well, we're a rather
How you all
long-living
doing?
race of beings. Not gods, technically, but we can still tell you a lot of stories from
I'm
ancient
doing
history.
well.
Yep, and she's also an amazing sculptor.
Still on the way to work, so and just chilling in chat, I see.
You could say she's a real creative type.
Well, ma'am, if both the Traveler and Paimon give you rave reviews,
Good luck
you
at
must
work.
be pretty impressive.
Bad. Glad, yeah.
Oh, Please don't call me ma'am. I find it so awkward when people get too formal with me. Just relax and be yourselves. No need to be nervous.
Miss Nicole, if it's okay, could I ask you a few questions?
Damn cool. Yeah, good luck at work. I'm on leave for like 2 weeks. I'm chilling these days, staying up all night.
Yes, you may. I can see your heart is filled with confusion, and you are desperate for answers.
I don't plan on staying out of office for too long.
I also know which questions you want to ask me. Why did you dream of Sumeru City in
Damn, okay,
disarray?
done.
Why did those verses soothe the djinn
Hopefully able to
only
finish
when
it soon
recited
after I
by
reach
you?
the area. I see.
I can guide you to the truth, but it involves a personal secret of yours. I'd prefer to speak with you alone, if possible.
Ooh, call Aelor. By the way, did you go to sleep? Because he's like deafened himself. He said he was gonna eat. But he's like muted and deafened. I think he might have gone to sleep. Protect Kale, yeah. Are we getting Kale lore? I think we're getting Kale lore. Oh, so is there anyone else we should speak to before we continue? I think he knocked out, yes, he usually sleeps around this time. Yeah, but he was like very
Thought we were
hungry.
going to speak alone.
I think he
This
might
is a
have gone
lot
to
more
eat
people than I
something.
was expecting.
What's wrong with it? Even the doctors at Dar al-Shifa allow patients to be accompanied by family members.
Well, if Kale doesn't mind her secret being revealed,
Oh, it's a long
I have
story,
no
but
problem
uni in
with
40
it.
minutes I was studying and now I'm mad at myself because it was just random. He probably food covered himself.
Thanks for being so considerate, Miss Nicole. I don't know what secret you mean, but whatever it is, there's no need for me to hide it from my closest friends.
Aww.
Closest friends? It's so nice to hear that.
We're here to support Kale through this.
all right. In that case, I'll get right to it. Kale, are you aware that there are god remains inside your body?
I am. When I was young, I got sick with Elazar. Nothing could cure it. The Fatui convinced my mom and dad that they could help, and I was sent to an unfamiliar place. There were a lot of other kids just like me there. This creepy guy injected us with some strange medicine, which I heard contained god remains. I can still remember the pain like it was yesterday. But thanks to the friends who've stuck by me all this time, I've gradually been able to overcome those memories.
Aww.
Anyway, so you're saying that what happened to me has something to do with the god remains they injected me with?
Gonna throw hands with Dotorian, say yup. The topic I don't even need rust. I'm just inside. What?
Yes. Those were the remains of Nabu Malikata, the goddess of flowers.
Oh shit. That's big. Second year, I see.
What?
I like how all three of them.
Fascinating. You don't seem surprised like the rest of us. Why?
The possibility crossed my mind when Kale recited the Goddess of Flowers song and calmed the djinn.
You made Paimon jump! What are you doing here, Lilupar?
Yeah, Tainar is pretty close to Kali. He knows about the god remains and stuff. So yeah.
I was merely passing through when I heard the name of the goddess of flowers.
Oh my god,
Be assured that I share
done,
your
not
surprise.
going uni. Good night if you're awake. I'm gonna play Valor tomorrow. See you guys. Okay. Good night, I guess. How many lectures do you have? Do you have like an attendance thing? Do you need to reach like minimum attendance requirements or something?
certain, I sense no trace of the Lord of Flowers within her.
Yeah, take care. Good night.
Well, it is a very small fragment. Unless
Yes,
special methods are
80%.
used to manifest its power,
Oof.
even her closest
I hope
acquaintances
you're
would
close
find
to
it near
that.
impossible to detect.
NMIMS, yeah. I know NMIMS.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Welcome back.
After the goddess passed away, her remains were scattered across the desert. King Deshret gathered all the pieces he could find
81.
and buried them in the
Okay.
eternal oasis. But some
Jump scare.
fragments remained unaccounted for.
Oh man.
Let me check if mine has improved. Oh, everyone's
Oh.
doing. Oh, 94. 93, 78, okay. Pretty decent. I still have the lowest,
I
but
just
it's okay.
I just need to do it with a bunch of men.
You need to do what with the...
Yeah. So to my OnlyFans. Okay, yeah. Give me.
Oh, Ace
Should
got
pin that.
22.
Oh!
Ooh, crazy.
I know it's crazy. So out of 100 people, only one person is gonna reject reject Ace.
Let's check this. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Okay.
How's my only 59?
Oh. Oh.
Oh, 81% low with men. Oh, I'm buying real.
Eventually, the Fatui
Equal
must have found a way to
opportunity.
track some of them down.
Always come here, let's make out.
Presumably for use in some experiment. It's not an uncommon occurrence.
Oof.
Oh, maybe you need a little bit of self-love.
This is rated E for everyone. Ooh, 99%. Nice.
Damn. Let's make
Wait.
out already.
I hope this doesn't. Every day you
The
get.
plot thickens.
Oof. I'm sorry. It's taking me a bit more time to warm up to you. Ooh. Gotta tell my GF I'm gay.
You're more shaken than I thought. In one sense, you've been extraordinarily lucky. So many people who yearn for this kind of power never attain it, yet you have coexisted with her all this time without even realizing it.
I don't know what to say. I'm glad that I could help everyone with this power. Really.
Oh, pretty
Knowing that a
close.
fragment of the
94,
goddess of
96.
flowers is inside my body is... It's a strange
Yeah.
feeling.
We just love each other.
Okay, 70, not bad.
Let me see how much I love you, Nate. I'm scared. Oh, shit!
Crazy. Okay, new pinned message.
You should send this inside Mono as well.
Where's my... Pin.
What, on the K drama?
Where is Mono Chat? Okay, what's happening? Watch this. I have so much risk. Oh, what happened to my 95%? See, you said watch this. I'll have so much risk, and I think that dropped your risk. You need to be like nonchalant. 50%.
See, I have more riz.
Oof.
W. Elriz, no, Elriz. 6% is terrifying. No, watch this. I'm gonna get like above 80%.
Oh, nice, nice.
Well, people value their autonomy very highly. Even a well-intentioned intruder can shake one's sense of self.
I understand how you feel, Kale. But once you get used to it, you'll find it's nothing to be concerned about.
Huh. I guess you, of all people, have a good reason to speak on this.
Okay, I told my GF. She said, "Good for you. Sleep or pick her up for uni, boss." You can represent us with this high res.
2 good reasons, in fact. Incidentally, 3
High
is the
res
maximum
represent.
number of Hermanubis's Ba fragments that I could bear.
Hermanubis.
I like game. It's okay, Owen. You're the one with the wife.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Easy.
92.
Let me guess. Because 2's company, but 3's a crowd?
Oof. I love the steady increase.
I went back up.
Oof. 18%.
I'm not done for Ace yet, huh? The love. Let's see how much I love Ace. Ooh. Bro, I keep getting 89%.
Ouch. Ouch. So we hate each other, okay. Yeah, I guess we do.
Ah.
Oof.
Oh. 2%. Ace, what have I ever done to you? What did I do to you?
Oof. 2% one-sided love. Oh. Let me check Rinny. Oof. Man, I just hate everyone, I guess.
Let me see my 57%. Okay,
I'm sorry. 57, 59, okay. Not bad. Ooh, oh, oof. Oof, I'm so sorry. Okay, you know what? Let's re-roll this. You know what? It's increasing. Ooh, Ame is 92% in love with you. What did the love polygon?
Thanks for helping to explain the joke, Tainari.
Have you ever thought what it would be like to be polyamorous?
Not my intention.
No, dude, I don't even have one amore.
Okay, yeah, because you're bitchless. You have no aim, right?
Okay, you know what? Watch this. See, that's not bad.
Let's see mine now.
Nah, I'm a loyal gal, but I do have my husbandos.
What a
Yeah.
flip. Oh. Hey.
Goddess preserve me. I should take my leave. This boy in his wolf's head hat speaks much too differently from the Hermanubis I remember.
Oh. I see.
Kale, all I'm trying to say is, no matter how many Hermanubis fragments there are within
I'm
me,
not rerolling
you
my
wouldn't think of
99.
me as
Yeah,
Hermanubis.
shouldn't.
In the same way, you are simply you.
Aw. Sino was being sweet.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So about that dream I had, was it a warning from the goddess of flowers?
Yes. Just like me, she was an angel created by
What the hell?
primordial
Oof,
humans,
that is so not true.
born with the
That
instinct
is
to
so not
guide
true.
living beings.
Let me check mine with Jay. Nobody tell her if it's bad.
10%.
Oof.
Crazy. We all hate Jay. That's crazy. This is not true. Oh, I haven't used this yet.
Oh, thanks for the check-in.
Though her body and soul have perished, her essence retains its natural instincts. Even her smallest remaining fragments would do their
Ooh,
utmost to
Ace
send you that
loves
warning.
Shay pretty high. Oh, 96 on the reroll. Okay, let me try rerolling. 77, I'll take it.
The mother
Sounds
of
about
dreams,
right.
Lord of
70.
flowers and oases. She must have had a premonition. That is why she
I love
gave
how
that
the
dream
whole
to
chat is
you.
just us trying to reroll stuff.
Yeah.
We won't let our efforts go to waste. But I still don't understand.
Is there any mod you have?
Why me?
What is your dark one? What does that do? Dark.
I think there's a 5-second or something cooldown on it. Should I just remove that? Because I think I removed it for Riz because everyone was spamming it to get better Riz. Maybe I'll remove it for this one too. Let me see. Dork percent cooldowns. Oh, it's a 60-second. Yeah, that's too high. Let me make it like 2 seconds. Like 5 seconds, I guess. Yeah.
There you go.
I need to reroll.
Why you
98%
hate
is
me again?
crazy. Wait, what did you
Always
get?
hates me again.
98%.
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired now.
Oh, 6%. Oops. I like how you put an emote after it and it you hate me, pandas.
You prove nothing.
1% dorky.
Hey, no, you're
76%.
supposed to get 100%.
70%. 52% night, okay. 50% in love with orange.
Okay. Okay, you can continue doing whatever you want to do there. I need to rest my eyes for a bit. I'm literally going woozy.
Let me bonk you.
Oh, yeah, bonk me harder.
Oh, 90% strength.
Who said that?
Oh. Okay, let me tuck you in.
What do you mean tuck me in?
I have a tuck command too. I don't know if the tuck one is for everyone or if it's only for like mods or something. Let me see. Now everyone can do that. Okay. It's 2% dorky. 15% love.
Yes. Why indeed? You weren't the only one injected with god remains, but only in you have her fragments persisted. I suspect it may be because of the firm will you showed in the face of suffering. She was likely assimilated by that will. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to shoulder any extra responsibility. As this young man said, you are who you are, and that will not change.
Where is the 6-7%?
All right.
It's crazy,
Any further
bro.
questions from the
Do not
family
target
members
for
of the patient?
6-7.
If not, we should head to the
Orange and
mausoleum of King
Suki
Deshret.
reroll like 1%.
Oh,
They reroll like probably like 100 plus times to get 67% love.
Crazy.
If Suki was here, we'd get it. Yeah, in maybe like 20 minutes, you would get it.
Let's move out.
So
Time to put our plan into action.
Oh, 93%.
We all hope it'll work. But will we really be able to open Aru? And even if all 7 pillars of King Deshret agree to let us proceed,
let's
the
check.
scale of the work to follow is daunting to say the least.
Oh. Okay, we all love Suki, I guess.
Haven't you handled other big projects before?
Is there not to love about Suki? She's my twin. Of course you have to love her.
I mean, the biggest project I've worked on to date is probably the Palace of
Let's see
Alcazar's
how
Array, I
much
guess.
I love
But this is orders of magnitude
Suki's
beyond
twin.
that. It's a total nightmare.
Suki's twin, that's me.
Oof.
What's the number?
12%.
Oh gosh. Why do you hate me, Knight? Why do you hate me?
Look on the bright side. At least
Why
this
do you
time you're
not
actually
love
here
me?
when Sumeru needs you most. You won't have to come asking me for details after the fact.
Mock me all you want. But now that I'm here, things will be resolved far more quickly and smoothly than last time.
Kave's self-doubt disappeared in an instant. Like magic.
I'm supposedly Suki's wife, so
Well, this confidence is most gladdening. Now go and pack your
Ace
things.
says
We'll
he's
head to the
supposed to be
mausoleum
Suki's
as soon
wife.
as you're ready.
Huh? I did not agree to this.
I'm supposed to be an e-kitten.
She did not get my blessing. As her twin, I think she should have discussed this strong meta with me.
Oh, Miss Nicole. I heard you're a
E-kitten
very
Dark
talented
lore is
sculptor.
crazy.
Is that true?
Dark is my E-kitten.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't want to blow my own trumpet.
Honestly, even though Kasharawar is best known for its focus on mechanics, plenty of Kasharawar scholars are quite serious about sculpting as a hobby. So if they rate your work, that's enough for us. We just have to take a look.
Who's...
Myself and a few other scholars. Kashif, Daneshvar, come take a look.
Oh, well, if you insist, I suppose there's no harm in showing you.
Whoa. Where did that come from?
Is that a squirrel doing a superhero landing?
Look at the level of detail.
Really?
It's so lifelike. The squirrel descends from the heavens like a champion, and the earth trembles beneath its feet. What do you think?
Oh, so
Striking,
close.
isn't it?
Oof. Uh-oh. I think you gotta have a conversation, Ace.
Kave? Kave, come here for a sec. Oh, and Madam Farazan, didn't you used to study in our darshan? Come take a look.
Oof. Oof. Oof.
This is the first time I've heard Knight say oof so many times in the stream. Or ever.
Because Ace got like 6% love with his GF, and then he rerolled and he got 1%.
Oh my gosh. Ace, are you okay? Is you want to talk about it? You need couples therapy? I'm a good listening ear if you need someone to talk to. Also partially because I love the tea, but like, you know.
All right, but hang on a moment. I have to finish reviewing this proposal first.
Hame is 10% in love with imaginary BF.
You call? What is it, youngster?
This squirrel statue. Isn't it cute?
Oh, a squirrel. I wouldn't say cute per se. The realism is what stands out to me. Were you trying to carve a statue of a hero, young lady?
Oh. Crazy stuff is happening in my chat. After getting 6% and 1% love with his GF, Ace tried love BF and he got 81%. I think the bot is trying to tell him something. Yeah, your imaginary BF is not doing well. Imaginary BF. Wait, why are you loving my definitely real GF? 0% is crazy. Damn. I like how my chat has turned into like cheating simulator now.
A hero? Actually, I didn't really have a specific theme in mind. I just started working on it,
NTR
and this is
favors
how it
us.
turned out.
I see. Well, do you tend to read novels about heroes in your spare time?
Someone.
As a matter of fact, I do quite enjoy those. Everyone loves a good tale of daring do, right?
Then perhaps this statue represents the heroic tale you long to see deep down inside.
What? I'm a cheater.
Also, on the subject of heroism, I feel that if the subject posed with a finger raised towards the heavens, it would lend a greater gravitas to the overall image. I'm sure some would call it cliche or old-fashioned, but not me. I think it would be a perfect fit. It has a certain classical beauty about it.
Ooh, 100% with PF, who is very much an illusion. Oh, you went from 0% to 100%. Oof. Wait, what happened to the cooked? Oh, it's still loading.
Kave!
Alright, I'm head to work. Good luck at work. I'm probably gonna end soon too. Like the sun is not fully out. My parents are gonna be up any moment. They're gonna, yeah.
Sorry, Madame Faruzan, I'm a little busy right now. Don't wait up for me.
What a pity. That young man has excellent aesthetic tastes. I was hoping to ask him for his opinion.
Plus, I'm going really slow on this quest. So I'm pretty sure there's still like a couple of hours left. So I'll probably do a part 2 stream of this. I mean, technically part 3 because my first stream crashed.
What a genius idea! Why didn't I think of that? Classical beauty is a great direction to explore.
Do you guys have anyone to raid out to
That's it.
in like
Once
5,
I
10
get back,
minutes?
I'm going to sculpt a heroic squirrel pointing its finger towards the sky.
If you guys have any suggestions, let me know.
Precisely. A declaration of victory. You understand my vision.
I should try to sleep.
Then place the two statues face to face.
Yes! That's exactly what I was thinking.
It'll be a masterpiece. Miss... I'm sorry. I
Gumi?
didn't catch your name.
And tell my GM about you. That's crazy. That's a crazy message. Oof. Okay, that's going in the Hall of Fame too, buddy. Oof. Check the Hall of Fame channel in my Discord. "76 in love with the homies." That's nice. Put whole context.
Just call me Nicole.
What? Oh, no. That wouldn't be right.
Why ever not? Madam is a state of mind cultivated from within. Anyone may call me Madam if they so desire. My dear Miss Nicole, once we make it through these trying times, should we have the pleasure of meeting again, I shall look forward to seeing your new work. In this day of age, it's rare to find people with an appreciation for classical aesthetics. Meeting you was truly a pleasant surprise.
Honestly, I feel the same way. It's been a long time since I met anyone interested in this style of statue. Clearly, they don't call you Madam for nothing.
Dang, you hate the homies.
Also, I have to say, you're a very good judge of character. Because when I think about it, I really am someone who likes stories about heroes. That must be why I've quietly kept watch over generation after generation of them.
Sorry, keeping watch over heroes? What exactly do you do for a
nice.
living?
Oh, never mind that.
Let's not tell Madame Faruzan about Miss Nicole's true identity for now.
Good idea. Let's limit the conversation to aesthetics.
let's not say.
Good idea.
Okay, yeah, I think I should probably end now.
What's wrong? You look a little depressed.
Kale got a fragment of the goddess of flowers, and all I got was one of the 7 pillars who served under King Deshret. I
I have a
lost out,
person
didn't
to
I?
raid. Yeah. Whomst? Okay.
That's what you're upset about? You're such a child.
Whomst must we raid? Oh, Layla is here too.
Oh, so many books. More than I could ever read in my
You're playing
life.
Final Fantasy, I see. And some not, some not, yes too.
But I've learned a lot that the textbooks
Yeah.
could never
Well, let me know
teach
their
me.
username then.
I never realized that people in the distant past thought about some of the same questions we
Del
ponder
die
today.
which game? I would like to rate someone who's like similar size, hopefully. Like, I don't like rating too big streamers unless. I mean, I did rate someone pretty big that day, but that was because Jay is like a founder in their chat, and you know, Jay was there. Aeon Naturalis, okay. Oh, Final Fantasy. It's a cute model. Oh, thanks for the riz. They will be shocked seeing me here. Okay, I'm assuming they know you then, so sure, let's raid them. Thank you everyone for joining me. We are going to be raiding to this person who seems pretty sweet. Let me hear them for a bit. Final Fantasy. I've never played Final Fantasy. Okay, let's 82% in love with tank. 6%. Oh. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna start the raid. Get your percentages in. I mean, if you guys want to do more, I'll just leave my bot running. You can just come to my chat and keep doing that. But yeah, I should probably end stream soon. So yeah, I'm gonna raid out. As long as my bot is running, you should be able to use the commands. Okay, let's get the raid message. And the sub raid message. Okay, let us let's go raid. Thank you everyone for joining. My stream did crash earlier, but then we were back. We played some Valo with Yu and then played a bit more of the Genshin quest, although we mostly just yapped. But yeah, let's go. Bye-bye.